Fire for your mind. The kosher clinician.
I'll get a woman's take on all of this. Shamika, let's start with just a general question. Have you heard of the passport bros? And what do you think of them?
Yes, I have heard of them recently. And when I first saw it, I didn't think much about it, honestly, because I think that men have been doing this for years. If you ask me, black men are late to the party. When you look at white men who have been doing well in life, a lot of them have married foreign women. You can just look at Donald Trump himself. He had Ivanka and he had Melania, and I'm not sure about that one in the middle, but white men have been doing this for a long time. So I think black men are just now coming up on it. And it shows that there are a lot of people just plain sick of feminism, period, across the board. So I have no issue with black men deciding that they're sick and tired of being sick and tired, because what I think is that black women, they saw this happening, but they never thought it could happen to them.
Okay, so a comment on my video sent me down a rabbit hole I don't ever want to go down again. Passport bros are real. There's this group of like 7 black men on TikTok with like passports and saying they're going to other countries to find more submissive women. No. Do they not know they're gonna be black everywhere they go? Like an African American everywhere they go? Wait, where are these other countries? Are they going anywhere in Europe? Probably not. Oh, they're manosphere bros, which means they are strategically picking countries that are stereotyped for having very relaxed, if any, rules around these two things. So they're going to other countries not to find submissive wives, but to find women and girls that they... Yeah, nah. Don't... This is real, bro. What?
Today, let's talk about passport bros. It's a growing movement of black men who shop for wives and girlfriends in foreign countries. They do it because the American black woman has abandoned traditional marriage values and roles. Fearless is coming in hot tonight. Grab your popcorn.
I think that what's happening in America as far as black men, black women is concerned, is that there's a revolution within a revolution. We are fighting our own woman. Our woman will not allow us to emerge as black men. No.
I hope that while we are having the discussion about these men going to these other countries, that there are some, that people with power are paying attention. People with power paying attention. That was a lot of P's, plosives there. And so that we might need to be making some legislation to create some protections for the women who are brought here by the passport bros, actually. Because genuine love and connection, okay, whatever. I hope that while we are having the discussion about these men going to these other countries, that there are some, that people with power are paying attention. People with power paying attention. That was a lot of P's, plosives there. And so that we might need to be making some legislation to create some protections for the women who are brought here by the passport bros, actually. Because genuine love and connection, okay, whatever. I hope that while we are having the discussion about these men going to these other countries, that there are some, that people with power are paying attention. People with power paying attention. That was a lot of P's, plosives there. And so that we might need to be making some legislation.
Hello, it is me, an ambassador for the bad bitches, and I would like to formally announce that we all collectively believe that the passport bros are whack. You gotta leave the country for cooch.
Damn, triple homicide.
Yikes. Ew. You thought that was cute? Now here, I'm gonna offer some suggestions. Bitches in the States don't want to fuck you because the inside of you is terrible. Bitches on the outside of the States also don't want to fuck you because your inside is terrible. You possessing a passport does not grant you access to human bodies, thus perpetuating your whackness. All right, gang. Enjoy your flight. I heard JetBlue's having a sale. Don't get robbed. Or do. I don't really care.
I'm a passport boy.
Why are men with passports hated so much? Could it be that some of these men are going through what I call a pirate passport psychosis? Men should be honored when other men are living their lives on their own terms, free of distress. But could it be unresolved issues related to mental illness? Join me tonight as we talk about the potential outcomes of what's called passport psychosis. Be well.
Rose, like they're getting women from like the DR, Colombia,
Yes.
the Philippines, Thailand.
First of all, y'all not be talking shit about my culture, my Filipino people, in my country. I know we're intelligent. We speak English and Tagalog. And as far as I know, I'm talking in English right now. I never grew up here in the United States, but I adapt. Also, when you go to hospitals, you see bunches of Filipino nurses. When you call customer service, you speak to Filipino people. And we are caring, we are loving, we are hard workers, we are fast learners, we are hospitable. Let's say that one more time. We are educated, we are respectful, we love to cook, we love to eat. And hold on, before you say that we don't speak English, try to say ask instead of ax, okay?
This comment is so spot on. And for those that don't know what passport bros are, they are men that are just dating you for the sake of getting papers. Know that these men are playing the long game. They are patient. It can take 3, 4, 5, 6, even 7 years. They will wait it out. They will manipulate you into thinking that you are their one and only, the love of their life, their shining star, when in all actuality, all they want is papers. Because when they do get their papers, they're going to turn around to either give papers to their wives that are back home, to their brother, sister, cousins, or they can also turn around and marry somebody for money. Of course, after they divorce your ass. So don't fall for the okie doke. Like, beware of the passport bros.
This particular woman sounds like a nut. Passport bros is none of what she's saying. We men from the United States of America going to foreign countries outside of the United States of America or any westernized society. We got our own money. We putting our head down and working, trying to retire early, making investments, making business decisions, networking with other fellas. What in the hell is she talking about? See what happens? Fellas, I'm glad we got ahead of this. So they can't create the narrative for us like her. And many that tried to mimic her. Like, for instance, the video with a good lady saying, yo, he went overseas and got stuck when he was really in New Mexico. That's the example of how, let me not call them names, but it's just crazy how sick and twisted some of these people are making videos. We got examples of this. Fellas, I'm glad we're ahead of this. Stay a blue book gentleman. Stay a passport bro. Do your thing. We see they going.
Only reason an Asian woman would marry you is because of the prospect of a better life.
You go find a wife in the Philippines or Thailand or wherever these places are that are overseas. They're just happy to be rescued from their poverty-stricken life of no opportunity.
You may or may not be able to speak English properly. And if you want to call us uneducated and poor, that we will get any opportunity we can get just so we can get out of poverty. Men are supposed to be providers, so they are going to provide for their future partners and family. The bottom line is, we have what they are looking for. I don't understand where is the rage from these women coming from. Why are they even surprised their men living when they are the one who is causing it.
When you date a woman and she may be a potential wife, it's a competition thing all the way. I can't take it no more.
They feel propped up because they feel more beholden to the government. And then their man comes second. That's why they figure that they're strong, independent, don't need no man because they have the government.
Because the men are failing us, to be honest. Guys thinking about themselves and they'll think about you after you react.
You don't hear anything about being good wives and all the other stuff. What you hear is you're strong and you independent. You can do it on your own. You got black girl magic, black girl rock, but you ain't said nothing about black family.
My mother is like what they consider to be the strong black woman. I feel like I projected that onto the guys that I dated.
Ladies have no idea how stiff their competition really is. You have no clue how black men are viewed in the rest of the world. We are the #1 most sexually desired man on the face of this planet.
They would call Jesus Dusty if he was here living in America because of the gross narcissism that a lot of our women have.
All right, guys, we're about to start live as I'm about to drop some fire for your mind. Bring it to you live from the greatest state in the Union, the Tar Heel State. And we're going to talk about this cultural phenomenon with Jason Whitlock and so many others. Listen, this passport bros thing has and is going mainstream. And many times the things and the ideas associated with the passport bros is based in ignorance and on ignorance. And also it's based on many not hearing the needs of men. What can we learn as men are beginning to live their lives on their own terms? And how will it impact women and children and many others in the future? Get your pens and paper ready, guys. I'm about to drop some fire for your mind. Fire for your mind. The kosher clinician. Let's do it. What can we learn about the struggles of the modern man? Will many women be left behind because they're not hearing what men are saying? You decide. The verdict is out, and the American woman is on display. Men are getting frustrated, and this thing is going mainstream. What say you? All right, guys, we're about to start as I'm about to drop some fire for your mind on tonight. We're going to have a good show. And guys, do me a favor. Share this stream with as many people as you can, because you're about to see what's going on in society and in America and why men are checking out. So I want to thank you guys for tuning in on tonight. And guys, this passport thing has taken a whole another turn as Jason Whitlock has got a hold of the passport bro movement. And while men are traveling abroad and men are beginning to live their lives, guys, on their own terms. And some don't like it. They will lie on you. They will accuse you of all kinds of things. But what these women don't understand is this. The more you accuse men and try to shame them, the more they're going to push back and do what they want to do. Because consistent with Dr. William Glasser, Dr. Glasser said that needs drive behavior. And because this thing has gotten so profound on the local scene, but also on the national level, Jason Whitlock of Fearless got hold of this from a good brother that I know, and he decided to do a show on the Passport Bros. We're up next because men are saying we're sick of the behaviors, we're sick of the disrespect, we're sick of the attitudes, we're sick of people not hearing and understand what we want, we're tired of being emasculated, and what the Passport Bros is about, it's a declaration of power. Now, I'm not here to castigate all women because there are some good sisters that are scared of the bra, white and black. But sadly, we don't have enough. We don't have enough women that are clarion callers, and we don't have enough women that are striving to do the right thing. And see, a masculine man is not going to tolerate disrespect. He'll tell you what you want, what he wants, and you can either do it or you don't have to do it. But masculine men don't keep arguing with women. Either you're going to do it or you're not going to do it because, once again, guys, needs drive behaviors. Now, I need you guys to do me a favor. Share this stream on tonight. If you have not donated to the channel, donate to the channel. Get the likes up because a robot just told me, he said, listen, coach, tell them Negroes I got bills to pay. So, guys, get the likes up and go hit the like button. Shout out to my dear friend, Dr. O, with that $20 hitter and just showing nothing but love. Dr. O, I thank you, sister, for being there. Much love and blessings to you. We're going to have a good showing tonight. And Dr. O, because of your love and your kindness, Dr. O, you are the #1 sponsor of this stream. Thank you, dear. All right, guys, we're going to get deep into it, and I'm going to be before you long on the night, but I'm going to show you guys the evidence because the evidence don't lie. You know, as a clinical therapist, we call it collaborative empiricism. And so this is the part of the show, guys, when we do this, because we have to look at the evidence to reduce the thinking errors of oversimplification, forecasting, but more or less the ego defense mechanisms of intellectualization and rationalization. So once again, guys, this is the part of the show when we do this, down the rabbit hole we go. Let's do it. Down the rabbit hole we go. This is the part of the show where we assess, examine, collaborate. All right, shout out to my man Gregory Scotland showing love on tonight. Gregory Scotland says, salute kosher. What I like about Passport Brothers and said they don't waste time arguing with women on a panel. Even so-called meaning women in this space don't get it, and they don't get it. Gregory Scotland. And shout out to my man, Biohammer TV. Men do what they want to do. Boys do what they can do. And what they don't understand is this, is that men are beginning to speak out because, listen, guys, this is a declaration of male empowerment. One of the first times in history when men are beginning to do what they want to do. They're not worrying about the naysayers. The more you try to shame them, the more they're going to speak out. Because men are saying, I'm tired of the disrespect. I'm tired of the denigration. I'm tired of people minimizing my needs as a man. And because of that, men are saying we're up next because needs drive behaviors. And as Bishop Charles E. Williams said, y'all ain't going to talk to me. Shout out to my man, Gregory Scotland, for that 20. And that's a deal, right? Thank you, brother.
Right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? Got 5 on it.
Also, shout out to my man, Tim Howell. He said, we know black men traveling with hit because it's really the solution. Yes, sir. And the slow tips, panderers, and sip enforcers and fee-fills hate us as our enemy. No doubt. Shout out to my man, Tim Howard, for the $5 super sticker. Thank you, Tim Howard. Much love and blessing to you, Tim Howard. And you are 1,000% correct, Tim Howard. The simp surfers don't like the fact that men are beginning to live their lives on their own terms. They are extranized men. And many times, guys, this is what the simp surfers will do. These men are coming together. They must be stopped. Who hurt these petty fools? Their mama is black. Who hurt them? They must be gay. I must go cause confusion. And they try to cause confusion, guys, because they don't want to see you happy. As I told you guys this, Dr. Glasser said power, fun, freedom, belonging, and survival is synonymous and paramount to men getting their needs met. As a licensed therapist, I know what I'm talking about because it's not a black woman thing. It is an American woman thing because men are getting frustrated. They're getting frustrated with the level of disrespect. And men are beginning to say, if you don't follow my program, sadly, you can take your ass home because masculine men do what they want to do. They don't do what they can do. Masculine men do what they want to do. And that's what you men should do. If you've done the right thing, you worked hard, you studied, you got blue-collar jobs where you're making 6 figures, don't let a woman shame you for how much you're making. If you can't find you a good woman here in America, go abroad. Go find you a traditional woman that can love, honor, and respect you. Because the men are talking, but sadly, many modern women are not listening. They're not listening to what men are saying. And once again, the white women are not listening. The black women are not listening. They're not listening to what men are saying. And because of that, it's gone mainstream. Because once again, guys, needs drive behaviors. Men have needs. T.D. Jakes said that men, he has a need that he can pour into. But if that man don't have a need that he can pour into, then he begin to suffer on the inside. And a hopeless man is a broken man. And a broken man is a dangerous man. And when the men are broken, they cannot become the better versions of themselves. And now this thing is going mainstream because men begin to come together, consistent with Dr. William Glasser, and also consistent with group therapy. Group therapy is when men use a concept called universality. Universality is a concept where men share their own story and they share their own pain. They come together in groups in the clinical world. It's called catharsis, when men begin to emote and talk about their pain. But also they compare the evidence. They compare the evidence by saying this: I'm going through what you're going through. And then the next man say, I'm going through the same thing too. And then so men come together and share their stories. And they say also another concept is called corrected recapitulation. And it basically means saying, I'm going to go back into the past. I'm going to correct what was done to me, and I'm going to change what was done to me because I've been broken, I've been hurt, and I'm not going to never allow that thing to happen to me again. And because what these women don't understand, the more that you continue to try to shame men, it's not going to help men at all. Shout out to my man and my brother, Edward Fields, guys. And if you guys have not gotten his book, reach out to me and go get this book, because a lot of men are emasculated.
Have you been distressed or perplexed? Emasculated. A book written by Edward Fields IV. Everything that needs to be known about men in modern time. Listen, men are not complex. They are misunderstood and unappreciated. Learn what men really feel, think, and desire. Also observe their struggle for acceptance, love, and belonging. A must read for every man in this classic book by Edward Fields IV. Emasculated. Go get your copy now.
Get that book from Edward Fields IV. He is a licensed therapist, a colleague of mine, and he is an advocate for males and male empowerment. So go check that book out. Go get that book, because the Passport Bro movement is a response to the cause of men being emasculated. And the effect is that men are saying, I'm going to do what's best for me. I want to give a special shout out to the good women that are listening. There are some good women that are scattered abroad, the diaspora of the Americas. And those women many times are shamed into silence. And I want to share something with you guys. If you hate women, don't associate with me, because I don't hate women, but I do hate bad behavior. And narcissism and narcissistic traits has become rampant in the modern women. They're entitled. They think that they are better than their men. And what masculine men are saying, we're not going to tolerate that kind of disrespect anymore. We need women that are going to be compliments of our mission. If she's not a compliment of my mission, if she failed to correct her bad behavior, then there's going to be a consequence. Because watch this, men. You never reward bad behavior, because once again, she only respects power and she only respects strength. And so you have to set the parameters of that relationship if you want that relationship to work. And you know, so many of you men, y'all go to church, but you don't even know your right and your privilege as a man. Woman was made for you. She was made to serve you because she's your glory. She was made in God's image, and she was made in your image to serve you, to help you meet your mission in the earth. But some of you men have been so emasculated. Some of you men are unconscious simps. You supplement irrational male patterns because you don't know how much power that you have. And we're going to have a good show, guys, on tonight. But in the meantime, guys, share this stream. Donate to the channel, and we're going to show you guys where this Passport Bro movement started, and then we're going to break down some of the concepts associated with Jason Whitlock. So let's do it, guys. Let's get in deep into it, and we're going to look at where and why this Passport Bro thing started. So why some black women aren't happy with the Passport Bros? Why some black women aren't happy with the Passport Bros movement? And this is a 4-minute read, so we're going to break it down. The Passport Bros have officially divided our internet. A growing group of thousands of black men is preaching to men on social media platforms that women in other countries are the best source for traditional women to settle down with. And listen again, guys. Black men are traveling to find black women from other countries. Some said it was colorism, but it was never colorism. Black men want black women. But if a black man want a white woman, or if you want a woman of another color, I don't have a problem with it because men do whatever the hell they want to do. Nobody can tell a grown man what he want to do. Men do what they want to do. And so just following the hashtag, you'll see men of all ages describing their experiences with the opposite sex here in other countries compared to women in the United States. You got passport bros, passport women be like, makes sense. All right. Most of the travel consists of stories of men traveling to live abroad, to find inner peace and happiness as a person of color on this earth. Black people have suffered through so many forms of prejudice in the United States that we saw other countries to feel like human beings. And sadly, guys, some of our women and many of our women have been sabotaged. They've been sabotaged by this cultural Marxism, which in essence, they've turned the women against the men. And see, what these women don't understand is this: black men and black women were mules of the same burden. We were coming up together. Black men were working the farms of Mississippi and North Carolina and Georgia and Alabama. They worked so that they could send our women to school. But see, there's been a miscarriage of justice towards the black man. And some of these black women, they want taxation without representation and the mental oppression of the American man. And men are saying no longer would that continue to happen because, see, I'm going to be a clarion caller. Dennis Sperling is a clarion caller. Dr. Ronald Neal is a clarion caller. BGS is a clarion caller. The Angry Man is a clarion caller. Dr. Tiasan Johnson is a clarion caller. Obsidian Mumia Ali is a clarion caller. And as I told you guys, where it's men, we may not agree on all things or ideologies because we're not going to always agree. But we do come together as allies of a common cause only to dissipate once the crisis is over. There's a crisis in America concerning the efficacy of black men to the point that black men are beginning to emote, they're beginning to speak out, and the powers that be are using all kinds of tricks to shame black men. They're saying they're going over there tricking. They're saying that they are taking advantage of these poor women. They are saying they're lame. They're saying that they're socially awkward. And we're going to do a show tomorrow because, see, the same women that's accusing black men of tricking, guys, these women are doing the same thing. Because you don't believe me, ask Megan, because Megan said they are tricking y'all.
They're tricking y'all. They tricking y'all.
Yeah. They are tricking y'all, guys, because they're telling y'all that they are tricking, but they are actually tricking themselves. They're tricking, but they want to confuse y'all and say, them men over there tricking, but they are tricking y'all. They're renting dreadheads. They're renting poor men from other countries. They're actually soliciting poor men from Gambia and Jamaica to have sex with them. But yet they want to use shaming language to shame black men into silence. And guys, it's not going to work because the more they hit us, we come at them hard because we will not be stopped. We can't be stopped. Men do what they want to do. Boys do what they can do. Black women and other women of color in America are going to TikTok and social media accounts to speak against the passport bros passionate. Black women in America have so much on their shoulder. For many, this movement is the straw that broke the camel's back. And see, guys, that's the problem with the lack of self-awareness. That's the lack of self-awareness because, see, when men tell their story, when men share their pain, and when our women don't listen or when we minimize, which is a thinking error, the struggles of their pain, and they magnify their own pain due trauma and victimization, it becomes a problem. Men have been crying out for years. But sadly, many women did not hear what men were saying. And now they will suffer the recompense of their error. They're going to suffer the recompense of their error because they did not acquiesce to the need of masculine men because, see, watch this. The masculine needs a feminine woman. The masculine needs a feminine woman. But see, a lot of these women thought that their masculine box alone can keep a man in relationships. But see, masculine men that have values and masculine men that have high standards understand that box alone is not enough. Now, a simp and a weak man that got a scarcity mindset, then he'll placate the box every time. But a masculine man will tell you, if you can't fall in line, boo, you can take that box, you can put that box in the trash can, and I'm going to get my passport because, see, black men abroad are applauded for their sexual prowess and their sexiness. And so masculine men with values, they don't worry about chicks getting in their feelings or popping off at their gums because black men abroad understand that they can have power and they're not going to tolerate nonsense. Men are looking for good women. They're looking for noble women. They're looking for honorable women. And that's what it's all about. Shout out to my man, Tim Howell, for that $5 cash out. Thank you, Tim Howell. I really appreciate it, brother. Thank you, sir, for your kindness as you always show love. Shout out to Tim Howell on yesterday and today. But most of their rebuttals, guys, are that the passport bros are weak men. And we're going to talk about it, guys. That they're weak black men that don't know how to court strong black women. And you're right, goofball. Masculine men don't have time to deal with masculine women. Men want soft women. Men want soft women. We ain't got time to deal with women that use the trope of being strong based on the trauma of your past. Men want interdependent women. Men want women that are soft and interdependent instead of being strong and independent. Because see, these women that use this trope, they don't understand that your strength is not in your combative attitude, but your strength is in your femininity. I'm going to say it again. Your strength is not in your ability to be combative or to test your husband's gangster, but your strength is in your femininity. Your grandmama knew that. Your great-great-grandmother knew that. She knew that sometimes being silenced was the way to calm the savage beast because they knew that femininity is an art. It's an art, but also femininity is a science. And when a man get a feminine woman, sometimes if that femininity is corralled in justice and righteousness, that man will do what's necessary because that man will say, she's doing what I need her to do. She's respecting my masculinity. She's respecting my gangster. And because she's respecting my masculinity and respecting my gangster, then that man say, I'm sprinkled down from the windows of heaven a blessing. But see, the modern woman don't understand that because she has been more or less complicit in the vicarious trauma and the negative socialization of things that she never had to deal with. The modern woman has not been oppressed by black men because black men never had power. But see, they believe the liberal talking points of these liberals and these cultural Marxists, and now they're becoming saboteurs of their own ignorance. Some of these women believe that the passport bro's true intentions are to have sex with foreign women and not searching for love. Now watch this. These women continue to try to shame men because these women are deaf. They deny the evidence that they're doing the same thing that they're accusing black men of doing. They don't call out the black women from going to the Grill Jamaica. They don't call them out from going to Gambia. They don't call them out. But they worried about trying to police black men and police their bodies and police their phallus, which is an indictment of the right to self-determination. In the clinical world, the right to self-determination basically means that the right to live your life on your own terms, free of shame, free of harm, free of guilt. So they deny the evidence. They become enraged when other men are presenting them with the evidence. They argue to ad hominem attacks, meaning they attack the messenger instead of the message like they did to Kevin Samuels and many others. And these women will fight you or they will flee because they can't hear what men are trying to say. And they can't hear what men are saying, guys, because many of these women have a condition called not only egocentria, but many have cognitive dissonance. And many of these women also have, and some of these simp servants got a condition called egocentria. See, a woman or a man that has a centonic ego is delusional. They think that the bad behavior that they're perpetuating is normal. They think that they're supposed to feel the way that they feel. And so a person like that is either psychotic or they're neurotic. And you can't do anything for a person like that. That's why you don't argue with fools. You don't argue with fools. You just run away from them because they don't have self-awareness. You have to focus on yourself and live your life on your own terms. Because on tomorrow, guys, I got another show coming up because they always go to the pejorative. And like Megan said, the same women that are accusing you of tricking, guys, and the same women that are trying to judge you, some of these men as well, Megan, guys, once again said this.
They tricking y'all. They tricking y'all.
Yeah, they're over there tricking, man. They're over there tricking. And you guys got to watch out for it. Shout out to my man, Gregory Scotland. He said, Coach, I have watched certain women come on your platform that were cool until you bring up passports of men traveling. Then they start hedging. Well, I'm not shocked, Byro, I'm Gregory Scotland. Some of the men are the same way. They get schema afflictions, but I personally don't give a damn about either. I do what I want to do. If you down with me, you're going to ride with me. If you're not, you can take your ass on. I'm a man. I do what I want to do. I don't care about nobody thinking they're going to control me, do cash apps or whatever. Take your ass on. I do what I want to do. And I don't care about nobody else. And you men should be the same way. Guys, if you got a comment, send me a cash app or a super chat and I'll read it out to you. But in the meantime, guys, let's get back to it. Other women have gone on to say that their emulating white masters have been notorious for colonizing and going to find submissive wives. And these women are so weird because they don't understand that masculine men want submissive women. Submissive women is not a bad thing. Men and women submit, but they submit in different ways. Women submit to the authority and the power of a man. But listen, the submission of the man is not the type of feminine submission. It just means that the man say, I agree. You submit to me, I submit to you. But it's not a submission in power. Just like when an alligator submits to a bird to let that bird come into his mouth, that bird submits to let that alligator take those parasites out of his mouth. In theology, Christ submitted to God, and man submit to Christ. And Christ, woman is supposed to submit to man and Christ and God. Submission just means to agree because submission is order. But they constantly try to shame you guys, and what they don't understand is that it's not going to stop black men. But they say some women have stayed there getting foreign women at the exchange rate, as foreign women only want those men for the little bit of money they give them, and they aren't falling in love with them, which is shaming language once again. Shame, insults, guilt, and they need to be right. Black women who anti-passport bros call these men scums, predators, and in some instances, pedophiles. But you're going to see, guys, that some of these so-called black women are using young black men. Or we're going to have a powerful show on tomorrow because, see, Stella never lost her groove. Stella still is getting her groove on. Stella never lost her groove. There's a lot of Stellas going to Negril, Jamaica, and going to Gambia and going to Nigeria. But see, they don't want to talk about that because they're hypocrites. They are hypocrites. And Obsidian did a good show, as well as Dennis and Shay Sade. And we're going to talk about it on tomorrow. It's going to be a comprehensive show. I'm going to have my man Peaceful Life on. He's going to break it down. He's going to talk about what happens in the Bahamas. But what you guys, what they say, even more interesting feedback from women in their country, they're going to their TikTok to support, in the supporter passport, bro, stating that women in Western world don't know how to treat their men. Yes, some American women lack femininity. When these men go to other countries, they treat their men the way they should be treated. Yes, sir. They proudly speak on traditional values and beliefs, even if they aren't from countries such as United States and United Kingdom. However, a group of black men speak against the passport bros. These are the simp surfers. And they said the bros couldn't land a successful black woman because they lack intelligence. Or similar to what black women were stating, the passport bros are a group of liars that look to sex exploit women from countries they could never get. So no matter how you slice it, the passport movement will continue to grow. One of their Facebook groups have over 10,000 followers. Men of all ethnicities and tax brackets are taking to social media to express their experiences to the rest of the world. I'd love to know how you feel about the passport bro movement. It's positive for black men to find love in another country, or is it another excuse to get laid without putting in work and other valuing women? And see, regardless of what the reasons are, to those idiots that associate the passport movement with sexual exploitation or tricking, then you're a fool. Because you're no different than the women that more or less overgeneralize and say all. But if those men are doing that, that's their business. I don't care. I understand the concern about men worrying about other men going to other countries, messing up their ecosystem, but you can't mess up a man's ecosystem unless he allowed. Those women are actually manipulating men that travel abroad because they know some of these men are thirsty for love. So it's a dual relationship. But I'm going to show you guys this woman by the name of Jamila. Hold tight. I'm going to show you guys and listen to what she's saying. Let me see if I can find it. And you guys want to see what I'm talking about. Hold tight. But this conversation, guys, is becoming more and more important because men are beginning to live their lives on their own terms. Listen to what this woman named Jamila said, and you're going to see her idiosyncrasies. Hold tight.
Okay, so a comment on my video sent me down a rabbit hole I don't ever want to go down again. Passport bros are real. There's this group of like 7 black men on TikTok with like passports and saying they're going to other countries to find more submissive women. No. Do they not know they're going to be black everywhere they go? Like an African American everywhere they go? Wait, where are these other countries? Are they going anywhere in Europe? Probably not. Oh, they're manosphere bros, which means they are strategically picking countries that are stereotyped for having very relaxed, if any, rules around these two things. So they're going to other countries.
And this is what this foolish woman said. The passport move is not actually a law. This woman said, this man said, Lee said, I have failed to connect sexual assault and domestic violence to date outside the country. You are reaching badly. Also lacks rules about age of consent. Girl, 3/4 of the dudes on 90 Day Fiance are passport bros. She said to find victims. I also hear this immediate thought of dangerous people are men they want to do dangerous things. They are so proud of themselves too. Yeah, it's funny, man. It's so funny, man. It's real funny. First, listen to this woman.
The countries not to find submissive wives, but to find women and girls that they. Yeah, nah. Don't. This is real, bro. What?
And this woman.
So a comment on my video sent me down.
Tried to equate this to being sexual assault and domestic abuse because they always do things through the lens of victimization because they are demented in their thinking. And that's why, guys, many of these modern women, there's no hope for them. They're deaf. They have cognitive dissonance. Don't waste your time talking to them. Don't argue with them. Don't have a debate with them because they don't want to learn. They want to be right. So I submit to you, do what you need to do and do what you were commissioned to do is to live your life on your own terms, free of distress and free of shame. Because see, masculine men, once again, do what they want to do and boys do what they can do. Shout out to my man, Passport OG. He said that shame only works from one who have earned respect. No doubt for the two. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. And then also shout out once again to Dr. O. Dr. O said, brothers, know your work because you are worth a cooked meal and to be praised. Dr. O, I love you and respect you, sister. And Dr. O, that's a deal, right? Thank you.
That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? Got 5 on it.
And what they don't understand is that you're not going to stop masculine men from living their lives, guys. You're not going to stop them. If you ain't going to hear and respect these men are going to keep pushing. They're going to keep living their life on their own terms. And trying to shame them is not going to work. Your best bet is just to leave them alone. That's your best bet. Your best bet is to leave them alone, man. Because masculine men are not going to tolerate the disrespect. They're just going to laugh at you. They're just going to laugh at you. And they're going to just mock you. All right, guys. So I'm going to show you guys something, and then we're going to get deep into the Jason Whitlock story. We're going to get deep into it. So hold tight. Give me 1 minute. I'm going to bring this file up. And I want you to let this marinate, and then we're going to see how we got to Jason Whitlock. So hold tight as we explore this phenomenon. Why are men with passports hated so much? Could it be that some of these men are going through what I call a pirate passport psychosis? Men should be honored when other men are living their lives on their own terms, free of distress. But could it be unresolved issues related to mental illness? Join me tonight as we talk about the potential outcomes of what's called passport psychosis. Be well.
A more traditional and submissive wife. But is it all about sex and just a girlfriend for hire and then return home to humiliate black women in America? That's the controversy that we're dealing with. One of its members, Austin Holman, is apologizing for comments that he made about Brazilian women. Take a listen.
What I meant by when I said that Brazilian women are easy, and I shouldn't use the word easy. I know that now. I'm sorry. But what I'm saying is, for a man that's well-mannered, well-dressed, that has put in the effort to raise himself, he will have an easier time in Brazil, as opposed to where I was from. That wasn't always the case.
Both American
have sexual intercourse with me tonight, right? And she's saying yes. They about to really get a lick on him. That's what's really about to happen. Because I also saw some of the women from overseas saying, yeah, we're just trying to get a lick. You know?
Do not arouse the wrath of the great and powerful Oz. I said come back tomorrow.
If you are really great and powerful, you'll keep your promises.
Do you presume to criticize the great Oz?
Why do so many YouTubers project? Is it a byproduct of brokenness, pain, or mental illness? Why is projection becoming the norm where weird people go on YouTube and cause chaos to people that they don't know, or try to appear bigger than what they really are? Join me live tomorrow as we talk about the power and the psychology behind classic projection.
Your broke ass over there, shut the fuck up. It's Friday. Ladies, make sure you get a Zelle this weekend. God bless you.
Let's hop to it. Ladies, if you listen to this dude, I'm telling you right now, you're going to find yourself with a dude who's just like this dude. Men like this, when they put that money up, they telling you that they own you. You owe them some shit. These are very controlling ass dudes. Every single girlfriend that I've had, every woman that I've dealt with who has been with a man like this is always broken, battered, and beaten when they come meet me. These niggas are very controlling. I'm letting you know. It's no fucking smoke. Y'all go ahead and believe this shit if you want to, but you're gonna find yourself on the wrong end of a ass beating. And if you think that I'm bullshitting and I'm just hating on a motherfucker, I want y'all to do one simple thing. I want you to Google this name. Google the name Robert Jamel Hickson. You're welcome.
Birthday, book her a trip. If you really want her, do something different. Stop asking her to the movies.
But I'm so tired of these motherfucking internet simps. Yo, fuck the movies. If you want her, book her a trip. What the fuck is you talking about, bruh? Man, listen, bruh, judge free zone. If you buy pussy, just say that. Bruh, we just got rid of Derek Jackson. Now we gotta deal with Eric Johnson. Bruh, according to this goofy motherfucker, if I want to get to know a chick, I gotta book her a flight to fucking Cancun. What the fuck? How the fuck do I know that she even got Cancun coochie? She may fucking have swap shop twat or some shit. And then women have the audacity to call this women empowerment. This is not women empowerment. How does this shit empower you? If anything, it's debilitating. It's giving women a false sense of entitlement. Motherfuckers like this be creating codependency. Listen, bro, if you want to break bread on some buns, go ahead. That's on you. You want women empowerment? I'm gonna empower you to be the best version of yourself, dog. You shouldn't depend on no motherfucker to give you shit. You're broke, yes, but I ain't go broke buying pussy.
What one man won't do, old boy and them and them other men, oh, they gonna do it. Don't ever let no broke man hold you back in life until he gets his money right. Eating up away at the prime of your life in your 20s when you could be out enjoying this world the way you're supposed to be. Don't let a man sell you no dreams, and don't go off hopes. Go off actions. If he can't do it today, cut him off tomorrow. Get a new one. All the little bozos, it's not about that. Life's not about money. Life's about getting to know each other. Love don't give you no experience. Get the fuck out of here.
Question for all the passport bros. Do you think these women are actually going to be with you for love? No. They're going to be with you for a green card. Because they want citizenship in the U.S. And you guys think you're going to get something out of it. You know, an obedient wife. No. See, you guys have this conception of what women are like outside of this country. Well, men are completely different outside of this country as well. So if you think they're not going to backtalk and things like that to you, you have another thing coming, especially Latin women. Any Latin woman. They want their visas. That's why, you know, they'll go with it, because they want their visas, not because they actually want you. I'm just saying, like, how long do you expect these relationships to last after they get their visas?
Yes, I caught your video on Southern Girls, and that's why I was just kind of like, where are these passport bros from? Like, they can't be from the South. Ain't no way. They gotta be from up north or Midwest or something, because Southern men, Texas, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, they not complaining about no woman cooking and cleaning and being masculine and submissive and all that other kind of stuff. Listen, sir, I don't think that's our culture. It's got to be a different culture within the U.S. that have these problems. I'm from Houston, Texas myself. I have never met a Houston man say he leaving Texas to go move abroad to find another woman. No, I don't think that's the issue here at all. Because, yeah, we down here cooking Thanksgiving meals on a Tuesday for real. And we're submissive, and we're feminine, and we paid. Okay,
I'm convinced these women just grab a kid.
She messed up when she said feminine. But anyway, I'm gonna remove this, guys. We're gonna get deep into it. Shout out to my man, Gregory Scotland. He said, Kosher, I would like your adults, Dennis Sperling thinks that the next tactic by women to be trying to spit the passport bros by picking and so-called good ones from bad ones. Yes,
it's a bet, right? That's a deal, right?
It's
That's a
happening
deal,
now.
right?
You're right.
That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? Got 5 on it.
Yes, I agree with that, Gregory Scotland. They are trying to do that. And that's normally what happens with COINTELPRO. They try to cause a separation in the movement because, as I told you guys, as men, we don't agree on all things, and that's okay. But hopefully men will be wise and they won't allow this to happen, sadly. I'm going to show you guys something, and we're going to get deep into this story. We're going to get deep into it. And we're going to talk about what Jason Whitlock was talking about. As Jason Whitlock, guys, started this conversation on last night. So let's get into it.
Women, particularly black women, have the wrong values, expectations, worldview, and attitude for a serious relationship. Passport bros chronicle their search for love and or sex on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. They're reviled and ridiculed on most social media platforms, but the movement is growing because the untreated disconnect between American black men and women is growing wider and wider. Black women see their role as leaders of the black community and the primary breadwinners. The Democrat Party, leftists, corporate media, and the LGBTQ movement have partnered with black women in imposing matriarchal culture. Newton's third law applies. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. With no institution or individual addressing the major rift between black men and women, the men are abandoning American women, searching for women in other countries who are not hostile toward traditional relationship roles. The yearning for traditional women and pushback against matriarchal culture explain the meteoric rise of social media influencers such as Kevin Samuels and Andrew Tate. Samuels died unexpectedly last year. He had built a huge following discussing black women's.
And some guys will argue that Kevin Samuels, even though there are other content creators like Angry Man, Obsidian, and there were other content creators also like Coach Greg Adams that were contemporaries of Kevin Samuels, have been saying the same thing. Kevin Samuels took the message and was able to finesse it and stretch it in a manner that made it equitable to the mainstream. But once again, guys, what you're seeing, this thing going mainstream, is because men are sick of bad behaviors and they're not going to tolerate it anymore. And because men are not going to tolerate it, some don't know what to do. The shaming language won't work. It's actually making it worse.
Unreasonable relationship expectations. Tate postures as a hyper-masculine man of the Renaissance man of the world. The Romanian government is investigating him for operating a sex trafficking ring. Tate says the investigation is fraudulent and an attempt to silence a loud voice that fights against the emasculation of men. Tate, who is mixed race, advises men to date and marry Muslim women. Take a listen for yourself.
Yeah. And the only people left in America who are resisting liberal indoctrination are the Muslims, and there's a whole bunch of them. Yeah. And this is why.
Now, let me say this. I do respect Andrew Tate in part. I don't necessarily agree with his Islamic views. I don't agree with that. But I do respect his position. I said before, once again, whereas men, we don't agree on all things or ideologies. We're not going to always agree. And I don't necessarily agree with that. But the context of what he's saying is that men of Islam have their women under their umbrella, and they respect their men because the men in those countries don't play. Keep listening.
My view, once again, my conservative views are all skewed up because I'm almost on the team of the Muslims now. Jesus. But then the only people you have left who don't want transgenders in schools. Yeah. The only people you have left who don't want to tell kids that being gay is better than being heterosexual.
They're very proudly pro-family.
Yeah, they're the only people they have left who have families and have kids. Yeah. They're the only people, like, you have no one, there's no other allies in the Western Europe besides them. And in the long run, in my view, is super pessimistic. This Muslim's going to win anyway. They're outbreeding, and I think the average English woman has 1.6 kids. The average Muslim.
And guys, once again, in America, we understood and respected traditional families. But sadly, many of our women in the West have been compromised. Andrew Tate, I thought was a white guy, but he's not. Andrew Tate is biracial. He's black and white, or bi-ethnic. And this was by design. It was by design to more or less splinter our women, just like it's by design to cause division between black men in this passport bro movement. And so I want you guys to be hyper vigilant. There are some good brothers that I love and respect. We don't always agree in every area, but I can respect them enough to agree to disagree and keep moving. Because as men, we're not going to always agree, and that's okay. But we cannot become enemies of one another because we let our egos get in the way.
woman in England has like 6.8.
Holy
like they're just within 30 years we're outbred anyway. So the fight's over, done. It's done. It's not even close. The population is going to overpass us. So at least they have ideals which don't completely go down the liberal lunacy. And it's amazing to me that the left, what's funny is they're cognitive dissidents. The left, they idolize Islam and they idolize all their other bullshit, and they're completely non-compatible. We were talking earlier about frame. Muslims have the best frame on earth. Like I said, this is why I piss a lot of conservatives off, but this is the truth. A lot of the reason the Taliban are fighting Americans, a lot of the reasons they're literally fighting wars they can't win with an AK against a predator drone, is because they're fighting for the right to have their virgin wife in a burqa. It's powerful. They look at Western cultures and look how Western women act, and they think, I don't want that. I don't want my women to be like, there's no wives there.
It's crazy.
I want this. And this is my society, and they're coming along telling me they're going to blow this up and take this away from me. No, I want a virgin wife at 16 who's going to obey me. That's what I want. And if I have to fucking die to protect it, that's what I'm going to do. And this is literally, that's the level. I had a friend who's I won't say his name, you can Google him up, he's a really rich guy, lives in Dubai. And he comes to London to party all the time. And we're in the clubs, whatever. And he looks at me and says, look around. And we look around. He goes, there's girls here to there's no wives here. He goes, I'll f your, he says, I'll f your Western women, but I'm marrying a Muslim woman. And it's like, this is how they view the world.
America feels like that, man. There's plenty of girls to but it's not the best in the world, but it's pretty good. But, to find a wife or a mother for your children, it's tough for the nails.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
And this is why we are the age we are and we're not married. And if we lived in an Islamic country, we would have been married at 21. And we would have 5 kids by now. And this is the reality of the human condition. And this is the reality of the Western world. And most people don't want to accept it. We can talk about countries, we can talk about governments, all these things. Without children, there's no future, there's nothing else. So you destroy the motivation for people to have kids. You're going to lose to the people who do have kids.
This is an issue that needs to be strongly addressed within the black church. And give me a second.
And sadly, guys, the black church, not all, but a large portion of the black church, is not addressing this issue. Sadly, there are many in the black church that are complicit in the destruction and the damnation of the traditional family. They support groups and ideas and ideologies that are not consistent with heteronormative theology. So they play a role in the dissemination and the breakdown of the traditional family because many of them are persuaded by money instead of being persuaded by the laws and the tenets of faith. I can say this about those in Islam mostly. I would say in general, they tend to adhere to Abrahamic laws and Abrahamic principles. Whether you think they're draconian or not, it's subjective to say the least.
Here to unpack a little bit of why I'm circling back to this. This is just a continuation of the conversation we've been having all week about single motherhood, the problems created in the hood, and for the most part, we're dancing around these issues. No one wants to take it head on. It's the biggest crisis, don't go anywhere. It's the biggest crisis, don't go anywhere. It's the biggest crisis going on within the black community. The fall of the black family, not raising women worthy of marriage or even interested in marriage. And we mostly dance around this issue. And this week, when I started talking about the family and people thought it was interesting, like the Shade Room picked it up. And the Shade Room is a aggregator, a popular social media account. And it's not surprising, like later that day, and I don't know if it's true, but later that day I started seeing rumors that T.D. Jakes and his family have some sort of financial stake or involvement in the Shade Room. And the Shade Room is very secular. But I thought it was interesting that they picked up my Tucker Carlson comments and didn't just really try to assassinate me with their promotion of it. And then you have to remember that T.D. Jakes, maybe 6-7 months ago, he started trending and people started talking about him when he did a sermon about we're raising black women to be men. And it's true. Everybody's dancing around and nibbling at this issue. And T.D. Jakes went after it in that particular sermon and people talked about it. But this is like something that probably needs to be discussed every single day, every single Sunday. Churches need to be marriage factories, That should be their goal. Because if we don't restore the family, there's no future. And so corporate media basically forbids any discussion that promotes.
And the sad thing is, guys, we're not going to restore the family in this current milieu because it's not part of the liberal propaganda. Men are expected to be men. But men are saying now we're no longer going to compromise our power. And you're right, Tim Howard, the Shade Room is very sexist and it's very misandric. I agree with you 1,000%, Tim Howard.
It's a Christian male heterosexual perspective. Just look at the reaction to my comments on Tucker Carlson's show last week. I argued that the destruction of the nuclear family drives the chaos, violence, and bad policing we see in black communities. I argued the absence of male leadership dooms black communities. Rather than debate these obvious facts, reaction...
And guys, I've seen this as a therapist, and also I've seen it in law enforcement. When kids are in homes and families where they don't have fathers, we call in the clinical world protective factors and risk factors. Now listen, having a strong father in the home is not the panacea. Sometimes people can be born in good two-parent homes and they still can go astray. But we're talking about outliers and we're talking about the exception instead of the rule. And so we need to take all of those things into consideration. But guys, in the meantime, do me a favor and hit the like button, donate to the channel, and share the stream because the robot just told me he got bills to pay. Thank you. Hit that like button. Go ahead. Do it now before I reach out into that screen and twist your hand like Aunt Esther. Hit the like button. Thank you. Destroy. All right, we're going to get back into it.
Across most social and mainstream media platforms focused on the timing of my comments and or whether I was fair to Cyril Davis, the female police chief installed to fix Memphis's violent crime problem. We're basically forbidden from even discussing the fact that 60 years of great society legislation has turned black men and women into enemies incapable of sustaining marriage, developing masculine men, and maintaining order in their communities. Things are so bad between us that success is defined as moving into all-white neighborhoods, being allies to drag queens, and affirming queer theory. It's so bad that black men of means are getting passports to find women outside of America. Passport bros.
And so guys, when they try to shame men, many passport guys that travel are upwardly mobile men that make $60,000 to $100,000 a year. Many of these men that are passport bros are trying to find wives. And but they'll say they're broke, they're conquered, they're weak, they don't have game. And men are saying, why do I need game when I can go to other countries to be myself? Why should you have game for women that are playing games versus just having a conversation with a woman that want a marriage and a relationship and she's ready to fall under your authority because she's in a patriarchy?
Is a thing because you can't sustain a relationship on racial idolatry or racial victimization. Racial idolatry and racial victimization are popular, pervasive talking points within black churches. You can't build a relationship on that foundation. That's what we've made into the common ground for black men and women at this point. Hey, we both experienced racism. Let's date. It's got to be deeper than that. Heterosexual, masculine men seek long-term relationships with women whom they find common ground with about roles in the relationship. Men of faith seek women whom they find common ground with about biblical values. If a woman thinks being an ally to the LGBTQ alphabet mafia is more important than being an ally to God, there's going to be a problem in the relationship. If she objects to male leadership.
And that's what these women don't understand, guys, that by and far, men tend to be very traditional by nature. But sadly, many of our women have been compromised, and they place these liberal talking points over the solvency of being in strong families and being with strong men. Now listen, guys, if you look at this last election that happened last year or 2 years ago, they didn't vote for policies that were synonymous to the black man and the black family, black boys and black girls, but they voted for power. Chucks and Pearls was a celebration of power, of having a pseudo black woman in power, a woman that was consistent with the emasculation and also the denigration of black men. They voted for power. And once again, sadly, a large percentage of our women, not all, but a large percentage, when it come down to power, they vote for themselves. But when it come down to servitude, they want you men to come back and be cleanup men. And men are saying, enough is enough. We're not going to do it anymore. If it doesn't benefit me, I'm not going to do it. And you got every right to do it because of behavior modification, it must be dual reciprocity.
In the relationship, there's going to be a problem. It's inevitable. Our marriage rate is low and our divorce rate astronomical because we don't agree on the basic fundamentals of a relationship. The discord over fundamentals leads to baby mama culture. Baby mama culture leads to train wreck neighborhoods and communities. Baby mama drama is driving men to acquire passports and look elsewhere for relationships. You can lie to yourself and claim these men are bitter or aren't man enough to deal with a so-called strong black American woman. Lenny Kravitz already told you. American woman said, get away. American woman, listen what I say. Don't come a-hanging around my door. Don't want to see your face no more. I don't need your war machines. I don't need your ghetto scenes. You can be upset with me.
And that was a powerful song by Lenny Kravitz called American Woman. And it rings true. And Jason Whitlock is just more or less carrying or more or less pushing what other men are saying to themselves.
You can just say I'm bitter and I'm just focusing everything on the black woman and I'm taking no accountability, no responsibility. Anybody that's watched this show knows that more than anybody you ever see in the public space, I take accountability for my mistakes. I talk about them constantly. I don't let anybody off the hook. But the facts are, we have embraced a culture that does not develop or produce women worthy of, capable of, pulling off successful marriages. That's just a fact. That's not me taking a dump on them. That's if Kenny, who's working the camera, if he shouted out, you know what, Kenny, just shout out, Jason, you're fat. Jason, you're fat. I can't be offended by that. It's a fact. I just can't be offended. I'd prefer he didn't shout.
And what Jason is talking about, guys, is accountability. Something sadly that many don't have anymore. They don't believe in being accountable. You'll never grow until you become accountable, until you look at yourself and see how you cause the issues in your life.
But you know what? I actually would prefer he did shout it rather than let me live in a state of denial that I don't need to lose weight. He's shouting that I'm fat because he wants me to continue losing weight. He wants me healthy. And so I'm me and others, this whole manosphere, I'm trying to say to the black woman, if you don't course correct, this chaos, this destruction, this lack of success is going to continue. And you're going to be sitting at home with a vibrator and some batteries or a girlfriend or whatever. No man, maybe some kid you got from a one-night stand or whatever. But, as Kevin Samuels talked about, all these high-value men are going to become passport bros.
And what they don't understand is this, guys. The world forgot to ask black men what they wanted. They forgot to ask black men what they needed. And because they didn't ask black men what they want or what black men needed, now they're beginning to see that black men are no longer going to take the disrespect, and black men are no longer going to take the disrespect or the mediocrity. To the wise women that are listening, take heed to this message, because you can learn from this and change and get you a good man, or you can continue to listen to other single women that will buy and part keep you single at the same time.
And I'm not a passport bro, but because I didn't even know what passport bros were until yesterday. I've seen it over Twitter and thought, what is passport? I didn't even know what it was about. And then someone sent me an email yesterday. I was like, oh, that's what they're referencing when they talk about passport. And so yesterday I started doing research and I was like, oh, because trust me, I've thought about being a passport bro. But I was like, oh, there's a movement doing it? And I'm like, you know what? Let me be like everybody else. I got the means. Let me go elsewhere, because the solutions perhaps aren't here in America, because our culture produces competitors for black men. It produces women who want to be leaders in a relationship, want to outwork and outperform you in the workplace, wants to be the major breadwinner, wants to be the shot caller.
And once again, guys, as I said before in the past, it's about power. She only respects power and strength. And she want to tell you what to do because she want power over you. Many modern women want to be the husband, and they want you to be the wife. Shout out to the good women that are trying to do the right thing. But sadly, it's not enough good sisters that reflect the virtues of our women of the past.
No interest in being a helpmeet. It's our culture, and you could say, hey, we can't trust you. You guys play around. You guys want to go out. You want some woman you can just run over and you can go screw whoever you want. That may be the man, your choice of man. But there are guys out here that have a biblical worldview and have sincere religious faith that would love to make it easy to find women that look like their mama that's on board with their program. But it's hard, it's nearly impossible right now. They all think they're the kings, the Woman King movie and all that, the Equalizer. They think they can jump off balconies at 50 years old at 270 pounds and beat up men. It's a joke. We'll roll out to Minneapolis and bring in Morpheus, Royce White, the most interesting man in the world. Royce, let me see where I want to start and bring you into this conversation. Right now, I'm arguing that, the divergent values and instincts and roles have basically made relationships between the black man and black woman unsustainable and a pipe dream.
Well, absolutely, and we've talked about this before, but the Willie Lynch address, right? The Willie Lynch address described this perfectly, and many people argue or debate whether the Willie Lynch address is actually authentic or not. But whether it's authentic or not, I don't think anybody who reads it, who grew up in the black community, can deny its accuracy from a cultural standpoint. We're raising our kids in reverse roles, and it's not by accident. It's not by accident. Women have a much less impulse to revolt. Women have a much, less impulse to violence. And that was what Willie Lynch described, or what is described in the address, is that if you can, if you can shatter the image of the black woman of the black man in the black woman's mind, she'll be your greatest guard dog. And that's a terrible realization when you really think about it. It's dark, and it's quite perverse, but it is the reality, and it is what has happened. The black woman has served as the outer bastion for the entire neoliberal, neocon establishment, and she stifles any real revolt from black men to either revolt in a real way, or even just get together politically, socially. Everybody has to be home by 9 p.m. or else they're out cheating and whatever else. So, yeah, the black woman has become the greatest tool of the establishment.
And sadly, as I said before, guys, in the past, many of our women have been compromised. They're not aware that they have been compromised, but they were compromised for a greater agenda, which is destroy the traditional family, because the traditional family is the image of God. But they didn't see it. They won't see it because too many have pride, and they will continue to be slaves of their own ignorance because they fail to introspect and to see things for what it is.
No doubt.
I love you bringing, I wasn't prepared, but I love you bringing the Willie Lynch letter into this. And look, there's controversy about whether it's real or not, but there are some essential truths that are espoused in that. And I like how you basically point out, like, she will be the guard dog for which, and that is what the Democrat Party has done. If the black woman is like, if you're a black man and express conservative values, if you don't vote the way they think you should vote, if for some reason, again, the number one crime you can commit as a black man is not hate Donald Trump. Right. That woman will then, you don't hate Donald Trump, can't date you, don't want to be around you, there's something wrong with you. And so she's so powerful, and too many men are so desperate for what's between her legs that they fold. In order to keep peace in the home and to keep the relationship together, they pretend like they hate Donald Trump. And again, I've had to deal with this with a lot of my own friends. And again, not all, but a lot of my own friends, where I've had to call them. I was like, you can't sit in front of me and pretend like Donald Trump is some sort of evil or has said something that you haven't said or done. He's no more or less immoral or moral than you, my friends. And I'm just talking about many of them, not all. I don't want anybody of my friends, wives watching and thinking I'm talking about everybody, but I'm not. I'm not talking about everybody. But I know my friends, and I know who their friends are. And if it ain't them, they're certainly they're friends with me. You wouldn't like me if you thought everything Donald Trump thought and did in his personal life was out of bounds, and that means you gotta hate me. If not that I've ever said grab him by the P word, but I've said close, and I've done close. And so you gotta hate me. I'd have to hate my uncle. I would have to hate my father. I would have to hate everybody at the Masterpiece Lounge, my favorite place on earth. If some of the Donald Trump, I was like, hold on, man. I used to go to Hugh Hefner's house for parties. What do we? So you hate me too? I'm so I love and I would want.
All right, hold tight, guys. Hold tight. I don't know what happened. Give me 1 minute.
women, particularly black women,
as a huge progressive improvement in race relations and the overall
logical, and that's been it's instead of admitting like, hey, a lot of the stuff I think is illogical, let me submit to some male leadership. Instead, they're going to go, you know what? You know who our allies are? LGBTQ. And that's the other thing that drives me crazy is you'll see a Jamel Hill and these other people, LGBTQ, the transgender, they're our allies. And what's unstated but inferred and insinuated is the black heterosexual Christian man is our enemy. That's the ultimate betrayal in my view, and it's happening, and I'm not going to sit here and lie about it. They'd rather partner with the LGBTQ alphabet mafia than the black man. What's a bigger sellout than that?
There is no bigger sellout. And it's completely taboo for you to bring any criticism to the black woman in this country whatsoever, because many of our just cultural, stories that we tell is the oppression of the black woman. And it's not that the black woman wasn't oppressed, and it's not that she hasn't had a very tragic and traumatic experience in American history. That's not the point. The point is, where are we today? And honestly, if you can look out at the world and see where we are today and not understand this dynamic, you probably are in on it too, because it's that obvious. I mean, look, and to your point about the politicians, it's not just the guy that goes down to the strip club, right? Or the politician that's getting prostitutes. Let's be clear. There is a clear link to sexual perversion and Satanism in the Democrat Party. And Bill Clinton, our friend Bill.
And guys, sadly, this has become an issue in the Democratic Party. This has become an issue with Democrats as well. And it's causing a lot of folks to be frustrated. Shout out to my man, Drim Ratter, for that $5 hitter. I appreciate it, brother. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
Our friend Bill might be the shining example who was palling around with Jeffrey Epstein, and Hillary Clinton hasn't come out and denounced it yet. She has yet to come out and denounce Bill Clinton's friendship with a known pedophile, a convicted pedophile. These are the people who the Democrats can.
And we continue to align ourselves, or some of our people to align themselves with policies and people that goes against the black family. And it makes no sense. How can you talk about the black family on one end, but you align yourself with people and their policies that are antithetical to the black family and the black community? It makes no sense.
Completely overlook all of their sexual and moral claims to vote politically or to participate politically. And it's like, do they think really it's an insult? It's an insult to the rest of us, but it's actually, you have to wonder, are they tricking themselves? Do they really believe it? Because if they really believe it, now we're into what's called mass formation psychosis. If they really believe that there is no contradiction in the way that they vote and the way that they hold the moral sword over everybody else's head, then they're completely delusional. And we should in no way try and reach these people anymore. That's my prescription. And I think that's the real impulse towards the passport bros. But we're not going to try and reach these women who go to these massive twerk classes and say that it's for their physical fitness, right? And there's 50 of them, and there's one or two gay guys sprinkled in there. The one gay guy's black. He identifies as a white liberal woman. We're not going to try and reach these people, and I understand the impulse. I think in the final analysis here in this country, it's a little anti-Christian, in my opinion. We should be trying to convert people. We should be trying to minister to people. We should be trying to spread the gospel. And if we don't, we may end up with a Muslim world. And we may think that that's a good thing now, But that may turn out to be one of Satan's ploys as well. We don't know.
I'm probably repeating myself a little bit here, but I want to be transparent. People always over social media will tweet at me pictures of me out socializing with friends of mine or whatever, and there's some famous ones of me with some white girls and me with some Asian girls that they get sent to me constantly over social media. And you know, some of them are in context, some of them aren't, some of them are just, but I'm not going to try to put it all in context. I'm just going to say this. Black men and women do not share the same values, and that's what this Passport Bros is representing. I
agree, Tim.
In transparency,
Gregory.
That's been my issue, and it's why I have tended to date non-black women. It's why I've tended to date white women. It's been about shared values. And
that's why men are checking out, because they're trying to find women that meet their value system, sadly.
It's like, I'm not going to compromise my values to start a relationship with someone who doesn't share my values. I'm not jumping over to her side of the values table. She's got to get on board with mine, or it just will not work. It's just not happening. And if you look at our divorce rate and our lack of marriage rate or whatever, somebody's out of line here. And I just happen to think it's the black woman. She's adopted values that, you know, don't sustain a marriage. And there were many values of mine that don't support marriage and be able to pull off a successful marriage. I've changed on those, and I've acknowledged, like, there was things I was bringing to the table that was corrosive to a marriage. But someone earlier today sent me stats about sexual partners and the sustainability of marriage. And when you start having more than one or two sexual partners in your life, your chances of pulling off a marriage go further and further and further down the tube. And so there is a actual justification, reason, logic, science behind abstinence, and not just, you know, being sexually promiscuous. It limits your chance of pulling off a successful marriage. And it certainly, men.
We know, you know, and I know that there are studies that say that the more a woman sleeps with multiple men, it decreases her chance to pair bond. But see, a lot of these modern women guys would judge you and say that you're judging me, but they're really judging you against themselves, because they know that their value system doesn't match yours, and they use that and do that to shame you, because they don't want you to have standards and have values. And that's why you got to continue to push back and more or less hold them to a standard that's based on your value system.
Philosophy, particularly as it relates to women and promiscuity, you know, they may go into a relationship because, oh, this is great sex, blah, blah, blah. But their level of respect for that woman, if she's had, you know, Cardi B may get married one day, but trust me, whoever marries her, I don't care how many women he slept with, he's never going to respect her fully, because he knows he's marrying a hoe. And and Kanye and Kim Kardashian, part of the reason that thing never worked is because and Kanye can be all in love with her, and, you know, because she got him in a sexual trance. I've been there, I know what that's like, but fully respect her. Oh, Cardi B is married, I'm sorry. Whoever you married to, Cardi B, he don't respect you. He knows you're a hoe. But it's the shared values thing. And I don't think men, particularly men of faith, particularly men that are looking for a woman with traditional values, we shouldn't compromise on that.
Well, I think, you know, we've created an entire Captain Save-A-Hoe culture in America. And, you know, if you make all the women harlots, then by default, all of the men have to be willing to save a hoe in order to have.
And what these women don't understand is that the same groups that they align themselves up with, these men or these transgenders are trying to take your place as women. Some of you women should count it an insult to align yourself with such. But sadly, some of your guys don't get it. Shout out to my man, Andrew Baker. And my man, Gregory Scott, said that's why it's curious to me when these women can't comprehend what men are asking for. They would try to grill Austin on other panels and seem rather confused. You're right, Gregory Scotland, because they don't know what men want, sadly.
Have a woman, or in order to have children, be married. And, you know, you could go back to the Bible and say that Jesus found a way to love Mary Magdalene, and Jesus spent a lot of time with the lowest of us, right? With the degenerates, with the gamblers and the thugs and the thieves and the prostitutes, and there is some real Christian direction in that part of the parables. I will say it's the narrative that's been spun, and black women, you know, their cultural motif right now, as it stands politically, as when it comes to being an American, being in the sexual marketplace, whatever.
And guys, this is where it gets deeper into the conversation. This is from another black woman. I'm gonna speak this up a little bit. Shamika, and she's breaking it down. Hold tight.
We were raised by our mothers in the culture, in the country, widely. I mean, this suffrage movement is not new. The corrosive nature of the suffrage movement which was essentially the women going to the white women going to the black woman and saying the black man got to vote before you did. How's that fair? That is the real alliance in the feminist movement. I want people to understand this is not modern. This goes all the way back to the inception of the suffrage movement and the hijacking of the civil rights movement, where the white woman drifted on over into dark part of the city and said and got the smartest young black woman who was a little well-read, and she put her hooks in her and she said, "Why did your man get to vote before you did? That's not fair." And this is what we've lived under. So I think the men doing it, especially in the NBA, this is all they know. All they know is to protect their sexual pursuits, their sexual viability. And this is the genius of hijacking the human reproductive system. If I can take one of the oldest biological systems that God put there for us to navigate the world and to procreate, to be fruitful and to be fruitful and multiply, I got society by the collar, and this is a brilliant move. But no doubt the WNBA, they should not be flying private. Unless you're talking about from a national standpoint, right? Like me personally, if I'm the president of the United States or if I'm the one calling the shots, it's kind of embarrassing that other countries, women get paid more than the women here. I would say that's true. And I wouldn't let that stand just out of a pride deal, right? National pride. We're not going to let the Russians pay their women basketball players more than we do. Why will we allow that? But that's more competitive, right? And so you can make an argument that same young black men who are cucking behind the movement, all of them.
And a lot of these men that are cucking is because they don't grow up in strong families, sadly. They don't have strong masculine men to guide them and lead them, which in essence is causing the issue.
All of this entire liberal movement, those were the same people saying the NBA don't need to worry about mental health. That's not their job. But they do and are expected to cater to women and their place in society. Ain't that convenient? Y'all are trying to get laid. I'm telling you now, if you're trying to get laid out there and you're cucking behind this movement because you can't get any, you are a cuck. That is cuckism. There's no other way to say it. There's no other way to say it, and I'm not following those people, and I pray every morning that there will be a rising and increasing group of men who will not follow these people.
Royce, thank you. Gonna let you go. Great
All right,
job
guys.
as always.
This next part is going to be a sister giving her perspective.
Sometimes the only way to survive the insanity.
This next one's going to be a sister
is to laugh through
giving
it.
her perspective.
Alex Stein is
Hold
here.
tight. This is Shamika, and this sister is deep. Shout out to my man Edward Anderson. How you doing, sir? Got a powerful show talking about you on tomorrow, and Bianca Williams. Shout out to Edward Anderson.
All right, welcome back. Let's roll out to North Carolina, bring in Shamika Michelle, get a woman's take on all of this. Shamika, let's start with just a general question. Have you heard of the passport bros? And what do you think of them?
Yes, I have heard of them recently. And when I first saw it, I didn't think much about it, honestly, because I think that men have been doing this for years. If you ask me, black men are late to the party. When you look at white men who have been doing well in life, a lot of them have married foreign women. You can just look at Donald Trump himself. He had Ivanka and he had Melania, and I'm not sure about that one in the middle, but white men have been doing this for a long time. So I think black men are just now coming up on it. And it shows that there are a lot of people just plain sick of feminism, period, across the board. So I have no issue with black men deciding that they're sick and tired of being sick and tired, because what I think is that black women, they saw this happening, but they never thought it could happen to them. They continue to think you could just put anything in front of a black man. You could be fat, you can talk back, you can ridicule him, belittle him, and be condescending anytime you're upset. And he's just going to continue to be right there, because where else is he going to go? Now he's showing you he's going to get his passport and he's going to look elsewhere. And it's not about just color. I think a lot of people are thinking, oh, you know, you all, you suffer from colorism. A lot of these men are saying they want black women. They don't want American black women, which just shows that if we course correct, as you said earlier, we could stand a chance. But as long as you think they're crazy, I'm right, I'm not changing, you need to bow down and listen to me, then you're going to be, you know, stuck at home with your vibrator.
Can we course correct, or have things gotten so bad that it's not fixable? I mean, we're so far down this feminism path, and the way women are being raised in this country, and you're right, it's not just black women, but just women in general are being raised in this path. And I'm just sorry, men are always going to maintain a natural instinct to lead and to be masculine and to look for a wife that wants to play a different role than him. Is this fixable?
I don't know about in our generation, Jason, but I do think of the more people that become aware that it's a problem, will begin to teach their children differently. And that's really what I'm hoping, that when I say course correction, that we'll start to teach our children to be different, because we see that it's an issue. So for a lot of people, you know, they say you can't teach an old dog new tricks. I don't think you're going to help these old dogs. Some of them are set in their ways, and they feel like this is just who I am. This is just how I talk. And they think that they're not going to change, and they don't have to. And some type of magical hand is just going to reach out of the sky and say, well, let me give you this man, because, you know, you don't want to change. You don't want to course correct. You don't want to look at yourself and take a good long look and actually be honest. Let me just bless you anyway. They think that, let them keep thinking that, I don't care. But I do think for those of us that see the issue, we will begin to teach the generations coming after us something different. And we can only hope, Jason, I try to stay hopeful, but we have to realize that feminism has hurt both men and women, because a lot of these men don't even realize how feminism has affected them. But they are very feminine. They, you know, mimic their mother's behavior. And so it's going to take a bunch of us coming together and actually realizing that there's a problem, and be willing to talk about it, and be willing to admit and acknowledge that it's an issue on both sides.
I look at someone like Jamel Hill, and I've seen there's a pervasive mentality among this group of feminist black women that see the alphabet mafia as their allies. And then what's not stated is they see the heterosexual black man as their enemy, And Jamel Hill and The Root and other people
has been compromised. They have been compromised because they allowed their arrogance and hubris to get the best of them. And now what they're seeing is a counterculture movement where men are beginning to speak out and say enough is enough.
People have just come right out and said it, that the straight black man is the white man of black people. I find all of that just very offensive and sad.
It's offensive, sad, and foolish, because what I've noticed with black women is we applaud our own demise, starting with the worship of liberal white women and feminism. We worship that. We worship the LGBTQ community. We worship being fat and out of shape and not working out. We worship having hair and nails and being more concerned with materialism than actually character and how we carry ourselves. So we always applaud that, hey, yes, hey, girl, yes, queen. We applaud all of those things that are actually harmful to us. You know, every time I look on social media and I can see them talking about some new type of shapewear that you can put on and it'll pull your stomach in and lift your butt up. And I'm thinking, why don't you just push away from the table and exercise? But not black women. They're always looking for some type of cheat code and some type of way out. And I'm hearing they don't even wash this shapewear, walking around with it day after day after day, smelling like piss and corn chips. But we always applaud the things that are going to harm us. And big up it every time, every day.
So I saw this clip, Vivica Fox. They got some show called The Queendom. It's basically a black version of The View. Fox
I want you guys to listen to this cantankerous, bitter woman in Vivica Fox. And Vivica Fox is the reason that many men are becoming passport bros, because Vivica Fox, like so many, lacks self-awareness. But I want you guys to listen and take mental notes, because this is fueling the fire with modern women. Listen.
And Vivica Fox is from Indianapolis like me. She went to Arlington High School, I believe, with some relatives of mine. And she had upset with me talking about what I said on Tucker Carlson. I think we have a clip of Vivica Fox on this show, The Queendom. Let's play that.
Mr. Clout Chaser, Mr. Unbelievable, uninformed, untouched black man, you are a disgrace to our race. And I'm glad every black woman was proud to tell you, really, the backbone of this country and a lot of wonderful things.
And look, guys, at how they minimize and they denigrate what's rightfully ours as black men. They don't consider black men to be the leaders. But the Democrats lied to them and told them they were the backbone. But you're not the damn backbone, because you're living off the government and you're living off draconian laws that impact all men, but specifically black men. And they're doing this, guys, by intention to more or less cause confusion between the sexes and the genders. And she doesn't even see it. How can you be the backbone of something when you rely on the government? But what she does, and what so many do, they take a percentage of the bad men that hurt them and they equivocate all black men in that negative pool. And it's pathetic, to say the least.
That are happening are because of black women. It doesn't matter if they're single or if they're married or whatever they is. They've been there for their children forever and will always be. Wow. How dare you? You're such an idiot. And that's what I think of you. You're a clout chaser.
I don't think that was Vivica. I think that was another woman that was on the show, or was that Vivica Fox? When I looked at it, I thought Vivica was a different woman. But anyway, just your thoughts to the queendom and the whole, I'm the worst person on the planet, I'm chasing clout.
Well, Black women are the backbone of this country. It explains why America seems to have osteoporosis right now, because we are just out of place. And I say this, there's no other group of women that think they are in control like that. Take away the weave, take away the lip fillers and the constant injections that it's so obvious that Vivica has. You all talk about you have so much pride and you're so confident and you love the skin that you're in. We can't even see the skin. We can't see your natural hair. We can't see what you really look like. And so you get mad at these men that go elsewhere. You're not even listening to them. If they want a woman that has hair down to their back, why not go get one that don't have to hang hers up at night? So I think that until women stop lying, this is what we're going to see, Jason. And honestly, it's what women deserve.
I want to go back to this whole allyship with the LGBTQ deal. Beyonce, her last album, queer friendly. Now there's stories about her highly queer friendly concert tour that she's planning. And literally, I'm just telling you, there is a devotion among these feminist Black women to doing everything possible to help the queer community. And we must be allies. And so when is Beyonce or anybody, any of these women, Jamel Hill, we're putting on an event that's going to be Black man friendly. We're going to celebrate and uplift. We know y'all got it rough. We know that, things haven't been going well. And I guess maybe their gift to us is Black Lives Matter. They'll cape up for dead Black men. Like a lot of white liberals, they love dead Black men. But for the living, they'll do everything in their power for the queer community. Nothing. Maybe Beyonce feels like she's doing a favor by being married to Jay-Z or whatever, but I just don't see him rallying, doing anything to empower Black men the way they rally to empower the alphabet mafia.
Because they want to be in charge, and you can't lift up Black men.
And I told you guys that that's what it is. They only want power and strength because it's the spirit of witchcraft. Witchcraft is rebellion to order. And they want to be in power. And once again, guys, you can't deal with women like that because they don't understand their place. Stubbornness is to idolatry, and rebellion is witchcraft. And it's witchcraft because these modern women are out of control and they want to be over you. That's why you got to keep or have a line of demarcation, and they can't cross that line.
And celebrate Black men and think that you're going to continue to run them. I hear a lot of Black women say, I can't find a good man. I think you can't find a good man because you don't think they exist. So in order for you to be able to find a good Black man, you first of all have to believe that they are real, they exist, and they should be celebrated, and that you deserve one. So if you continue to think that there's no good Black men, all men are dogs, men ain't shit, those are the only type of men you're going to attract. And when it comes to women like Beyonce, they get on my last nerve. You're so queer friendly, yet you went out here and married a straight Black man and had his children, but you don't push that message to other women. I remember when she dropped Lemonade because she thought, or it was said that Jay-Z had gone out and he had been cheating, and all of the women were standing around saying, ooh, this is the breakup anthem of the summer. And I said, don't be tricked. Don't be fooled. Beyonce is not leaving Jay-Z. This is not the breakup anthem. But women were running around here breaking up with their men because Beyonce dropped Lemonade. And then Beyonce turned around and got pregnant with twins. So y'all are real ignorant when you sit and even follow behind these women who will tell you one thing. Beyonce would say, women run the world, but you ran yourself right around in that kitchen when you found out your husband was cheating because you didn't go anywhere. So stop pushing this message, or stop listening to the message that these women are teaching when they aren't even living by it themselves. And what I've noticed, and it doesn't bother me, Jason, but Black women are start ridiculing other Black women and calling them pick-me's. And I'm older, so I'm like, whatever, cool.
And that's the foolishness. You call a righteous woman that want a good husband a pick-me. Tell me, or more or less make it make sense. And you're right, Andrew Baker. Beyonce does look like she got some wicked going on. The alter ego is Sasha Fierce, which is a familiar spirit, in my opinion. As I told you guys from the show last night, some of these women are practicing witchcraft because witchcraft is about rebellion and power. So when they rebel, that means they can't control you. And it's something to think about. Shout out to my, who's Pat? Mr. Coach with tattoo.
I've already done what y'all are trying to do.
Funny, Pat.
But for some of these younger girls,
Pat, you need to come up and have a response to
and
this.
I constantly tell them it's
funny,
better to be a pick me than a picked over. Stop listening to these people ridicule you because they are bitter and they are angry, and just block them out. And it's unfortunate that these hoes and these loudmouth women are the ones that are pushed to the forefront. But as we band together,
shout out to my man Andrew Baker for that $20 cash app. I appreciate it, Andrew Baker. Always showing love. And Andrew Baker, that's a deal, right, brother? And I appreciate it.
It's the money.
Yes.
together, I think that Black women and Black men alike will see that there are good people right here in America that share values. It's just some of this riffraff that has gotten in the way.
You know, first thing I need you to do is just, I see the term pick me all the time over social media. Some of our audience may not know what's meant by that. If you would explain to the audience.
So a pick-me is supposedly a female who says or does anything to be picked by a man. So anytime a Black woman a lot of times says something favorable about a Black man, you'll hear a lot of feminists and even beta males to start ridiculing that woman and calling her a pick-me because she wants to be picked. And why not? Like, why would you not want to be chosen? A man that finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord. So you want to be a chosen woman. Why would you want to be overlooked? Like, there are women out here that
part of shaming language by some of these modern hyenas because they don't want to comply and they don't want to submit to the authority and the masculinity of a man. And that's why I keep telling you guys, you got to keep moving. You got to ignore them. And if you men that are single, you got to find a woman that's part of your mission and part of your boundary system.
want to get married, that want to be a wife, that want to be a mom, and they're expressing themselves that way. They have no problem with women being on Instagram, half naked, talking crazy. You never see people in their comments ridiculing them for the conversation that they're having. Yet when you come across comments under women who are actually saying favorable things about Black men, you always see them being ridiculed and called pick-me's. And it's crazy to me. It shows how sick we are as a culture that we value things that actually have no value, and we uplift things that can actually hurt and harm us.
You've landed at the next point I wanted to make in terms of, like, we basically outlawed correction of the Black woman and Black man as well. And so you'll see things over social media on people's Facebook or Instagram. It's like, man, that's incredibly ghetto. That's a bad look. 6-inch fingernails. Don't nobody want to be bothered with that. You can't even wipe your rear end. Why would a man want to be bothered? You're loud. You're in someone's face. You're arguing and bickering publicly in a loud way. And we're all just supposed to ignore it and not criticize it. Whereas a woman that wants to be picked or chosen, we're going to ridicule her and her behavior. But let a woman be out in public and loud talk and get up in the face of some man, but you just can't handle a strong black woman. Why you always? It's like we've illegalized good advice and corrective behavior for black men and women. But someone has to tell these women, no matter what's said over social media. There's no man, and I don't care, he could be the biggest simp in the world. He can be the biggest idiot in the world, but he does not want some loud, profane, ghetto. And if he does want that, you need to run away from him, because that man if he wants some loud woman that gets up in his face and is profane, that means he wants that smoke. And that's eventually he's gonna turn into a man. He's gonna punch you in the face and be like, "I thought that's how you liked it. That's how you're a strong black woman." You don't. But it's like we can't correct each other. We can't steer each other a positive direction.
Yeah, if he wants a woman that's constantly ridiculing him, you have to look and see if that's trauma bonding. Like, how was he raised? Because why would you even want to enter into something where you have to constantly fight and argue and explain? Who has time for that? You certainly won't be a successful man if you have to have a woman that you have to control when she says, I need a man who can control me, or I need a man that can handle me. Well, you need to go and live at the zoo, because that's where they handle people. They handle animals at the zoo. So if that's what you want, you don't even belong out here in society, because we ain't got time to be trying to handle and manhandle women. You need to be able to have control over your emotions and have respect for yourselves in order for a man to want to deal with you. So if he wants something else, he's not even a good man to start with. And we have
MC Recovering Wellness for that 5. He said, "Kosher, you are rocking tonight. My son's mother is watching the stream, and I understand it. I told her that I picked her because the lack of makeup." No doubt, brother. I appreciate MC Recovering Wellness. Guys, I'm going to drop the link in a minute. We're going to have a conversation about Jason Whitlock and also the Passport Bro movement. I'm going to drop the link. I'm going to allow you men to come on and share your ideas and share your points of views on this whole phenomenon with black men more or less demanding they get the outcomes that they want, and they're doing it without trepidation. Hold tight.
have to stop acting as if we are choosing the right man when we start belittling all the other men. Like, if you ran into a man, most of the time you've seen who he is. There are red flags. If you ignored him, that's on you. And people hate when you make generalizations, but I just feel like people should be smart enough. If you know it doesn't pertain to you, if it doesn't fit, you must have quit or whatever, be able to realize when you fall into some type of category and when you don't. That was one of the things that irritated me about that Fox Soul piece with Vivica Fox and the other women. Why are people having such a hard time separating the issues here? Separate the issue from the death and what is happening and what we can actually see going on in America. If you want to pretend like this matriarchal culture is not harmful for us, then keep pretending, keep living in la la land. But we know that it's an issue, and you're right. Black men and black women don't want to be corrected, but let's be honest. It's really the black woman that is above correction. It's the black woman that has an excuse for everything. And my kids say this saying, excuses are tools of incompetence. So when you hear her constantly throwing out an excuse, that's a prime example that she's incompetent, period.
Good stuff. We'll end on that note. Thank you, Ms. Shamika. Great job as always. You can email me and us, fearlessblazeshow@gmail.com. Got a
All right, guys. I'm going to drop the link, and we're going to have a conversation, man. We're going to have a conversation. And hold tight, guys. Let's talk about it, because I want to hear what some of you brothers are thinking about concerning this matter. I want to hear what you guys are talking about. So I'm going to drop the link. Yeah, MC Recovery. I would love to get on, man. I'm going to reach out to her at some point. She's actually in the Tar Heel state. But I'm going to drop the link, guys. Let's have a conversation. Let's have a conversation about this phenomenon, about Jason Whitlock, and also the distress that a lot of men are having with modern women and their lack of regard for black men. So the link has been dropped, guys. Feel free to come on. Let's have a conversation. I want to hear from some of you brothers. You good brothers, I want to hear from you guys. And what is your consternation and your frustration about modern women? Let's have a conversation. So once again, the link has been dropped. So, guys, what do you think about the Jason Whitlock situation? What do you guys think about men getting their passports and also this thing going mainstream? It's causing a lot of consternation for a lot of people. Some are afraid, and some are using shaming language to keep men in line. All right, Passport OG, how you doing, brother? What's going on, sir?
Oh, I'm doing well. Enjoying the
All
show.
right, all right. What do you guys think about this whole show, this whole insight, this whole consternation about everything? What do you guys think about it, Passport OG?
Well,
and are you surprised that this thing is going mainstream?
I'm not surprised it's going mainstream. Because,
Talk about it.
I mean, look, black people in general and black men in particular, we're the canary in the coal mine. We move the culture. I mean, when the first hip hop song to go platinum was Ice Ice Baby. You didn't have rappers before you had him. Passport Bros is just a lit match, and people are looking around and say, "Oh, look at what's going on over there."
Right.
And it's just a fire that's billowing. I mean, there are a lot of young, frustrated white dudes that are dealing with the same issue, but they look at the way black dudes are doing. They say, "Oh, not only are they getting passports, they put a name on it and add some swag to it. What's going on over here?" And that's what we're seeing. That's what we're seeing. It's an amazing thing to watch, especially listening to Jason Whitlock. It's amazing to watch it, man. Amazing to watch.
It's amazing to watch, but also it's very concerning, Passport OG and Devin, because some of these women are going to the extreme based on the show from Black Ram, then going up to using witchcraft to control men. Now, Devin, you're from Louisiana. What's your take on these women going to the extreme to use witchcraft to corral black men? What's your take? Hold tight.
Great, man. I'm an OG back from the Air Force, man. And you can see I got a few years on me. And I was trained. I was in the Air Force in the 1980s. I was trained by Vietnam veterans, man. And we used to have a saying that that we say back and forth, when we share the experience of being a GI overseas, being an overseas vet, right? Is treat you right. And that's all you got to say is treat you right. Every brother knows what that means. Every brother knows, every brother who's been outside the country, whether you were in the Pacific or in Europe or Latin America, anywhere in the world, discover the women discover us. We as Black American men are cherished around this planet. And yes, we are treated right because we're not treated right at home, man.
Yes, sir.
This is long overdue. This passport movement is long overdue.
It's long overdue. Yes, sir. Right. Are you guys surprised that it's going as mainstream as it's going? Are you guys surprised?
I'm glad.
And if so, right. Tell me what's captivating about this whole movement, in your opinion.
I think it's a good thing, not only because we're discovering women that treat us right, but also we're discovering America's place on the world stage. I think too many of us vote here in the United States with a plantation mentality, thinking that foreign policy and all of the other things in the world are for the white man to worry about, and all we have to worry about is the white man treating us right. That's Black Lives Matter. That's a plantation mentality. And that's why we think that everything else is supposed to be taken care of by the white man. We're supposed to live here in the white man's bubble, and all we got to do is make sure the police treat us right. And that's some bullshit. We need to have a more international understanding of politics and of the world. And if we did, we wouldn't be voting for all of this foolishness that's happening right now in our country.
Right.
And we wouldn't be allowing China to do the things that they're doing to us.
Now, Devin, how old are you, brother? And when did you start seeing this great deluge?
I just turned 58 last week, man.
Okay.
Oh, wow. All right.
Yeah, brother.
When did you start seeing this great deluge, man, of the breakdown of the traditional family and Black relationships?
I grew up in the 1970s, man, and when I grew up, everybody had a mama and a daddy at home, and the few people who didn't have a daddy at home is because the dad died, from what I heard. You know what I mean? A couple of instances where, guy's father might have passed away, and that was the norm. Now it's completely flipped upside down, and the norm is that everybody got a mama but no daddy at home, and it's ridiculous. And all of the problems that face our society as a result of that, the crime, the violence, the ignorance, and the ratchetness, even among our women, because these women are twerking on tables in restaurants because they ain't had no daddy at home. Let's tell the truth. Let's tell the truth. The boys are acting like they never had a daddy at home, and the girls are acting like they never had a damn daddy at home. And the whole society is out of control. And now these women are talking about they run the world. It's absurd. It's absurd. I mean, it's just foolishness. But I mean, I grew up in the 1970s, man. I mean, I remember my dad brought home our stereo, first stereo in the house, and he brought it home with an 8-track tape, Stevie Wonder talking book. That's how old I am. Okay, so I grew up on that. And back then we had LTD, Love, Togetherness, and Devotion.
Yes, sir. LTD.
We had soul meaning of the heart. Men sang ballads to women. I put on music from that era and sing until I cry.
Right.
My son has never heard this before. And I'm like, this is the way a man talks to a woman. Concentrate on you, right? Teddy Pendergrass. This is the love that we had within our community was thick. It was thick. And they deliberately destroyed it. They deliberately destroyed it by pumping the toxic crap of the social ills that plague our community into the ears of our children with the specific intent of prolonging this garbage, this violence, and all of this societal ills into future generations of Black people. Okay? I'm not going to name names because Kanye already got in too much trouble for naming names. So you know what names I'm going to name. So I'm not even going to go there. But this is all a product of that. This is a product of that. And, hey, the Black community in America will go on, okay? And if it goes on through us marrying foreign brides, then so be it. None of us are pure African. The darkest American brother is not a pure African.
That's true. That's true. You're right. You're right.
Get off of that. And besides, we are posing no threat to the existence of Black people on the planet. Right. Africa is the largest continent on earth, and there will always be Black people here. Let's get that straight.
Right.
So we ain't hurting nobody. We ain't affected. We're not ill-affecting anybody. What we're doing is we're creating happy homes. And by creating happy homes and families, we can restore our community.
And everything you're saying is true because my bloodline, I'm 5% British, mostly Nigerian, but I'm 5% Brit on my mom's bloodline. So you're 1,000% correct, man. But I'm going to ask you guys something. You talked about LTD, Love, Together, and Devotion. You are now with Gen X, and also Boomers. I'm from Gen X. I'll be 52 this year. But we remember a time when love ballads and music and romance and courting a woman was powerful. But this world is so wicked and crazy now, man. It's like we're in bizarro land, man. What's your take on that, Brother Allen, and this whole foolishness that you're beginning to see? And are you surprised that Jason Whitlock and the Passport Bro movement is reaching mass appeal?
Okay. I'm going to come on in a few minutes.
All right, peace.
No, sir. I'm not surprised at all. It's well overdue. It's needed. I view it as the pendulum just swinging back now. Because you had 50, 60 some odd years of us being belittled, berated, taken advantage of, used, and now all of a sudden that the same men who built the country, that these women who share our complexions have been standing on, have decided to remove themselves, and now they're upset. They're upset. They don't have that footstool anymore. You're removing your financial aid. You're removing yourself from a situation that is not conducive to your survival. It's just natural. It's nature. It's nature. You can't stay somewhere that, you can't stay in a hostile environment for forever and expect a good outcome. They've made this environment not just hostile, but corrosive, nasty. We are literally living in the times where your house is the house of ill repute at this juncture.
Yes, sir. Right.
As far as the community goes, like they talk about us being bullet bags. You done spent all your life working to become the man that you are, just for them to make jokes about you being a bullet bag.
Bullet bag, right.
But if you say the same thing about one of them, they'll lose their mind.
It's
crazy.
It is crazy. And you talked about the power, because rebellion is a sin of witchcraft. These women are rebellions, a large portion of them, man. You talked about these women being in cahoots and using witchcraft. You talked about it in your family. But how prevalent would you say the spirit of witchcraft is in this whole communication, but also the desire to be the accuser of the brethren, in your opinion?
Watch any music video with any prominent female artist, and you'll see signs in it. They hand information down to each other, be it directly or indirectly, and it's just considered the thing. Like prime example, Hot Girl Summer. We all know what that meant. Hot Girl Summer is just a representation for a woman that are loose, but it happens all the time. It's a norm. Now, us as men, we don't often pay attention to it, but that's just what they do. It's completely normal for them to teach each other signs, spells, things of that nature. You won't catch it because that's not your role to pay attention to that. You're providing. You're making things happen. You don't see what they do. Women exchange information with looks and nods and glances and so on and so forth. But not saying that men don't, we can't, but typically we're more focused on achieving our goals. What's going on, handling the next problem.
Right.
We're not using all that low key communication all the time, 24/7. But
do you think they're going to use this, Brother Devin, and then also Passport? I'm going to start with Passport, Brother Devin, and then Passport OG. But Gregory Scholar made a great point earlier when he said that he believed that they're going to try to use this movement similar to COINTELPRO to splinter black men, and it causes consternation and confusion. What's your take on that, Devin? And then I'm going to go to Passport OG.
Man, I really hope not, but I don't think they'll really be effective at it if they tried, man, because we already know that, first of all, the FBI was formed specifically to form COINTELPRO. COINTELPRO was the first mission. So basically, the whole FBI was meant to oppress us as black men. And anything that we do, we already are suspecting agents, right? We already suspect agents. Dick policing, for example. Dick policing is agent, man. That's an agent. Like Dr. Umar. I'm not trying to call him out as an agent. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. I don't know. But anybody who feels as though they have the right to determine who a black man decides to partner up with on a sexual basis, even as a wife, has nothing to do with looking out for the betterment of black people. You're trying to be a chocolate-covered white racist if you're talking about racial purity, especially with regard to mixing sexually. I mean, like I said before, that mix has already been done, and there's nothing that we can do to erase the European in any of our bloodline. So it's nothing to even think about. It's just meant to divide us from each other. The brothers who have foreign wives, or the brothers who have non-black wives or non-black American wives, and the brothers that do. Next is going to be light skin versus dark skin. It's the Willie Lynch letter all over again. They're going to look for any kind of way to try to divide us. And wise, smart brothers are aware of that already. The smart brothers already know. The stupid brothers are the one that are, what do you call that? Hotep feminists, right? Dashiki feminists, right? Dashiki feminists that are playing the role saying that you ain't black enough if the woman you sleeping with are not black. Stay off my dick, okay? Pay attention to yours. I'll pay attention to mine. And this has nothing to do with our political stance. Here I am, one of the lightest brothers you'll ever see, the president of the Black American Party. You know what I mean? So as far as that whole, proving your loyalty by where you aim your penis, that's just ridiculous.
It is ridiculous, right? I always said that, one of the things I see, Brother Passport OG and Mr. Allen, the sad thing is this, guys, when it comes down to power, then a large proportion of our women, they vote for themselves. But when it comes down to servitude, then they want the black man to come back in the spirit of servitude. What's your take on that, Passport OG? And do you feel like this whole context is going to cause a splinter between men and travel? What's your take?
Well, I think you have to look at it. I think what's happening now on a wide scale level is something that's affecting men on an individual level. So if you're a young kid in high school and you study and maybe you're a comic book nerd, who are the first girls that are giving you attention, positive attention?
White girls and Asian women.
Yeah,
white girls and Asian women, yes.
If those are the girls that are giving you attention, then you're going to start leaning in that direction. And then when someone comes along later and says, oh, you are betraying your whatever, you should be devoted to people that never showed you interest, you're going to look at them with a look of bewilderment. And so when people start talking about they're going to try and break up the movement, I don't really even think it's a movement. I think it's an evolution. I think most black men have never really truly considered dating outside of the black race because, let's be honest. My father went to segregated schools. You could get killed for that. We're not going to get killed for it. As a matter of fact, we're starting to say, oh, wow, we can see certain treatment over here. We want to have a family. They want to have a family. It's just a natural evolution. Because if the two choices are people that aren't really showing me interest and they're saying they don't need a man, but XYZ, and then you're seeing women that are saying, oh, you're making $45,000, we can build on that, build a family, and in 20 years you'll be making six figures and we'll be straight. That's just a natural evolution, and I don't think that someone from the outside can come to individual men and say why you want to be selfish and have a family and all that craziness. It's like men want families. That's just natural evolution. So I'm not worried about this breaking up the quote unquote movement, stuff like that. Because men, at the end of the day, dudes that are getting up and going to work and doing what they're supposed to do, they want to have family and they want to have kids that they know that they're theirs and they can see them every day. That's it. And if they're going to go where they can do that.
Mr. Allen and also Passport G, y'all send me y'all handles, man, and also Devin. I'm going to make some of you guys moderators. Byro, I haven't forgot you, brother, but I'm going to make some guys moderators, brothers to come through.
Will do, brother.
They got it set up so now moderators can be really on point. They can more or less delete messages, but also delete, things that are out of pocket, man. But Devin, what's your take on what I asked the question earlier, man? Or what did I ask Devin? I forgot who I asked. Which one did I ask? Was it Devin or you?
What was the question again, man?
I forgot.
It has something to do with outside forces.
Oh yeah, like I said, they're gonna try. I don't put anything past the people that are currently trying to undermine us to continue to try to undermine us in every way that they can. Right? I don't put it past them, especially right now in the political climate that we live in right now. I think the last thing, the biggest wrench in their game is strong black masculinity. Okay, they think that I believe they really think that they got us beat. I really think that they believe that defeating the black American man is already a done deal, and that's simply not the truth. That's simply not the truth. And us expressing our masculinity in this way by, first of all, going where we have to go to have relationships with the kind of women that we can express our masculinity with, I think this is a good step, man. I think this is a good positive step. And they can't do nothing about it. What they can do? Stop us from being able to get in passports? Nah, they can't do that. You know, we get passports like anybody else, and we can travel anywhere like anybody else. And as far as I'm concerned, man, like I said, I started overseas I went overseas in 1984. Okay, and the Black American man is cherished and respected. I was in Spain, and I went all over Europe. From what I understood, from what I discovered, even Germany. I spent a lot of time in Germany. I was stationed in Spain, though. But you know, everywhere I went, we are respected and honored by owning the accomplishments of America, but they also understand the history of America, so we don't get to blame for the white man's nonsense. We don't get to blame for all of the crap that the negative side of America has thrust down the throat of the planet. I think that's a great position for us to be in, man. Like I said, I've been a passport bro since the 1980s, and I am 100%. I was rapping with Austin Holloman earlier today, man. I am 100% in support of the movement, man. It ain't going nowhere.
Well, what's your take on those that disassociate themselves based on the fallacious assumption that that's all they do is trick? What's your take on that?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, those are the agents, man, because those are the ones that are they still have that, like my brother Dennis Spurling says, that simp mother goddess chip, right, in their head, and they can't get out of it. They're on autopilot, right, as if any man wants to wrestle with a strong woman of any race. Who needs a strong woman? I'm a man. I'm the strong one. I'm not looking for strength. I'm looking for a woman who can be feminine. And like I said, like Reverend Jake said, I'm looking for a woman with needs that I can pour into as a man. And if I gotta, what really hurts me, man, is when I look at the statistics, the things that we can and that we can't really help. Is the number 73, right? 73% of our children are growing up in a single parent household, mostly a mom. But among those who have mom and dad present, 73% of those homes, whether they're married or whether they're just shacking up or whatever, the man is financially dependent upon the woman within our race, within our community.
Right.
That's a damn shame.
It is a shame.
Like Dolomite said, that's why we can't have shit. Okay? All right? That's why we live in poverty. That's why we do stupid things like vote Democrat. Because we have our women telling us what to do. Most men, if you're financially beholden to a woman, you're never going to be a man in the house.
Right.
You're never going to be able to have the final word on anything. And a lot of these women talk about, oh, if it's the right man, then I'll be submissive. You know what? That's not something that you turn on and off. It is who you are.
It is who you are. Right. Not that conditional feminine. Shout out to my man, Brandon Jeff, for the $20 super stick. He said for another fire show, no doubt, man. And that's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? Brandon Jeff.
That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right?
But you know, Passport OG, you're in Japan.
Yes.
What are you seeing in Japan concerning this whole Passport Bro movement?
Well, I think what a lot of black men in America don't really understand is the world doesn't really know us. Most of the black men that have a chance to travel are almost exclusively military guys, and they can really only go where the military takes them until they get out of the military, and then they can move around a little bit. And so that's like the first influence around the world, and then you're starting to get other guys, right? You say, you know what, let me go around and look around, and you're meeting people who have never met a black person, or a black man, and their whole image comes from rap videos and from movies. And then you talk to them in their native tongue, and they're like, oh wow, and they have to reform their whole image of black man because they never met us. So for a lot of young guys, you're going to go overseas, I wouldn't say with a clean slate, but with just people that are they don't know who you are. They don't know how complex, how intricate we are, what kind of things we like, our culture. Most of our culture is portrayed through television, and people are curious. It gives us a leg up. I can tell you that much.
That's good to hear that you're in Japan. My son is an anime and manga fan. And we actually are planning a trip to Japan later on this year if things work out the way I want them to.
Well, one of the really cool things about Japan is you can be a lame here. Like, you could be an anime lame here.
But anime is not lame. Anime is
not.
cool.
Of course it's not lame.
I'm an
Of course
artist,
it
as
isn't.
you can see, man. Anime
Of course
is
it's not
cool.
lame. And there are girls here that are in the anime, and they'll do the anime thing with you, and you and them can couple up, and you can do your lame quote unquote anime thing and be a happy couple. I mean,
You know, my son has a stack of books right here behind me, anime and manga books. And I tell him, you know, when I was a kid, it was Marvel Comics and DC Comics. And there's a divide of all of us lames that walked around reading comic books and all of the ones that were too cool to be lame like us reading comic books. And guess what? All of the comic book lames, we all have good careers and jobs. Okay, a few of my friends growing up, they did a little bit of time here and there, man. I'm not saying, well, I am saying maybe if they would have been one of these lames and did a little bit more reading, maybe they wouldn't have ended up going that way when they were adults. I said.
Gregory Scholar asked the question. Ask the gentleman on the panel what they think about Filipino women pushing back hard against black women, starting with my man Pastor OG and then Mr. Allen. Go ahead.
You better know what you're talking about before you open up your mouth against people. I mean, just know what you're talking about, because talking about they're going over there to get uneducated women in third world countries that can't speak English. Like, are you aware of the English education in Asia? Are you? Like, do your homework before you stop talking bad on folks, because I think it's hilarious to watch them clap back, because they don't know what they don't know. They literally, if you don't know what you're talking about, you need to keep your mouth shut.
Right.
And if you work in healthcare, you know, it's pretty stupid to think Filipino women are uneducated.
That's right. A lot of them travel nurses. That's right. A lot of travel nurses.
You took the words right out of my mouth. A lot of them are nurses. They work in the medical profession. You can't be a dummy and uneducated while drawing blood. You'll get someone an aneurysm. You can't, like, they have no clue.
In your second language.
Then, exactly. So they speak multiple languages. Normally, it's their native tongue, English, with a little bit of Spanish in there. On top of that, the women, just the women, are the ones that do the bulk of the traveling, and the men keep the country running. Those are some of the toughest people in the fucking world.
Yes, they are.
Forget my language. But you what? Like, no. These are not soft people. These are very hard people. Extremely hard people. So yeah, they open their mouths to the wrong ones. I find it funny.
It is.
I like watching them clap back. I like watching them clap back, man.
In your all's opinion, what does this mean to the mental health of black men? You know, consistent with what I've been saying with needs driving behaviors. What are you guys excited about, starting Brother Allen, about this whole movement? What's exciting to you about men finally speaking out, living their lives on their own terms? What's exciting to you?
Change. I get to see my younger brothers, like Austin Holloman, those that are younger than me, get out there and see the world. I got a chance to explore it in my mid-20s, and it's happening younger and younger and younger. It was a story on how fathers are getting their teenage sons passports now. That way, they have that option to lead this place is amazing. And to watch fathers grant that opportunity to their sons, that way they can become more well-rounded, more learned, more broadened individuals, meet people, experience. I love watching that. I love it. I swear to God, I love it, because it's not something I thought I'd see in my lifetime.
And you know, you were an adult that these women would have piped down, but seem like they're getting worse. What's your take on it?
They took us for granted, man. They thought we were theirs and theirs alone.
Yeah, they don't want you to leave a plantation. They want you to stay on that plantation. And the moment I personally believe some of the main snitches that won the plantation were women, because they had that whole chicken biscuit time with master, sipping that tea. And the moment you plan anything, they telling on you.
Right. They were singing Cairo, Illinois. They were hoping they were going to run to freedom but not understanding they sabotage the movement. What would you guys start with my man Devin about Vivica Fox? Vivica Fox vitriol. What's your take on Vivica Fox, and then Passport OG, and then Brother Allen? What's your take on Vivica Fox?
You know, watching that video right there, I was like, that's something you don't see every day. An angry Black American woman, right?
don't be nice.
She was a walking, talking stereotype, man. And the bitterness inside of her, and the it's like a vengeance inside of her, the hate inside of her, and whatever they is, and all this other kind of ignorance. It just, to me, it says, this woman ain't had no D in a long time, and she come to the realization that she probably ain't going to get no D. And so she would rather mire in the hatred of that whole, I don't know what you want to call it, man, leftist, Black feminist, nonsensical movement, man. And it's really, she was one of the ones that gave Ice Cube a hard time when he wrote the Contract for Black America. Matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, I think she was the main one that was talking about the interests of Black people and the interests of Black women are not the same. I mean, oh man, she's really a parody of herself. If you look at her, she's really a parody of herself, and she is the embodiment. She's making herself the embodiment of exactly the strong Black women that we don't want, that Black men don't want, that Black men are going overseas just to avoid, just to not have to contend with. And no other man of any other race wants them. So I don't know, man. I mean, I guess they're giving up on heterosexuality. I don't know. I mean, if you're saying we ain't nothing, and you're throwing out all this anger and bitterness and all of this, hubris, right? All of this hubris,
right? And
I guess when you turn around, there must be like what, a white boy at the door waiting to pick you up. Who?
Yeah, I would say that the issue with Vivica Fox is she has fame and she has money and she's still not happy. So that speaks to what all she has left is to be frustrated. I mean, I want to say that I think one reason why it's very important to have women in a space like Shay Sade. She is not like Vivica Fox, now is she?
Not at all.
Not at all. And they're both Black women. Something's different. So it's not the Black women that's the problem. As I like to say, it's the software that's the problem, because they have different sets of software. Shay Sade is at home with her family, smiling tonight. She is not on the internet raging like Vivica Fox is pretty much every day.
well, they lost their first place, man. They all had a chance to get good men, but they chose not to, because they would rather argue with Black men instead of make love to Black men and respect Black men as men. And as times are getting worse and worse, many are beginning to understand that masculine Black men are not going to tolerate that. That's why I've said before in the past, box is okay for men that think on a primitive level. But masculine men that got values and standards, they're not persuaded by box.
That's right.
I'm not saying that box don't play a role in bringing men in, but men that are not used to women, or men that not used to having sex, then they will be persuaded by box. But I'm going to do a show at some point talking about masculine box versus feminine box. It's going to be very comprehensive, man. And I'm going to drop some fire for your mind when I do it. But I'm so happy, man, to see men living their lives on their own terms, men not being besmirched or more or less relegated by the foolishness, because what these women are doing now, man, is definitely rebellion. Some are going to the extreme to use witchcraft on men. And it's shocking to say the least. But then on the flip side, I'm not shocked at all. What's your guys' take on it?
Well, I almost see it as a I wouldn't say a cry for help. It's a cry of discomfort, if you will, because I honestly, personally, I feel sorry for modern women, because when you act on bad information, be young, party, do what you want to do in your young years, and then you get 40, 45, 50, and you don't have any of the things that are going to make you happy for the second half of your life. And then all you can do is try and find a way to justify it. And so that's where I would say that's why I see Vivica Fox.
Right.
Have fun when she's young, party, fly around the world, star guys, all of that. Now she's got 50, she's what, 50-ish? She's looking at 30, 35 more years of being exactly who she is right now. And she doesn't like it. And she's unhappy.
Right. And that goes back to Tracy Ross talking about, you know, she blamed black men for wasting her good years. And a lot of that is because they thought that beauty would last forever. And Devin, you talked about a time where women weren't perfect, but we did have LTD, Love Together and Devotion. We had Switch, we had gospel music, we had the Winans, we had Take Six, we had it all. And I'm going to say, Devin, you and I, and also Brother Allen and Passport OG, we lived in a time where we saw the good of both sides. We still weren't messed up, but we still had traditionalism. But the current world that I see now, man, I don't know what it is, man. It's confusing, to say the least.
Yeah, it is, man. We actually celebrated love. We celebrated love for each other. We celebrated our families, and we celebrated romantic love and adoration for our women.
Yeah.
You know, I believe that was deliberately removed from our culture. I believe that was deliberately, you know, I believe the nosedive that we see that black music has taken, it was by design.
Well, think about the culmination of black music. Imagine, just think back to some of the best Saturdays you can remember as a kid were at weddings. You'd see two people and they play all the music and there's dancing and there was all the music from the 70s, all of that stuff. And that's gone.
Oh, yeah.
Gone.
You know, as families, we don't even dance together, man. They say a family that prays together stays together, man. But you know, as I know, growing up, I mean, you know, we would dance with mom and dad in the kitchen.
That's funny.
We would
That's
dance
true.
with each other in the living room.
That is
We would
so
get
true.
together at family reunions and picnics and be dancing outdoors in the park with the music and didn't care who watched. This is all part of who we were. And it wasn't just the dancing part of it. It was the fact that we weren't ashamed to love each other and to show love to each other. And that needs to be restored. It can't be restored under the present conditions.
No, yeah, go ahead, brother.
It's very simple. To quote Mr. Palmer, as far as Vivica Fox, it's all Tremaine's fault. So no matter what you do, as a melanated man here in America, it's always going to be your fault.
Right.
It's
Passport
Jermaine's
OG,
fault. Always
Kosher,
Jermaine. Yeah.
those days are over. They're gone. Ain't no more dancing. It's war. It's straight war. You see how the men in Ukraine are acting right now? The time to sit around the table having matzo balls and all that is dead right for the moment because it's a war.
It's a
These
war,
women
right?
have declared outright war on you and men that look like you, your sons, your grandsons, for as long as they can, rather than just admit the fact that they messed up. So, flashing back to those times, yeah, it feels good for nostalgia's sake, but that's not where we at right now. It is war. It is straight war, and they will do anything and everything they can to prevent you gentlemen from leaving the plantation. They need you here. They want you to be in bondage with them. Yeah, willingly, they're here. They're in bondage willingly. For us, we're not willing. That's their mindset. It's totally selfish and self-absorbed. They don't view us as being human like them these days. That's why Vivica said black people's agenda and black women's agenda don't line up. Because they feel like they're here and you're here. You're like subhuman. That's how they view you, brothers. And not just you, that's how they view your sons. Any male that shares their reflection, any melanin man that comes through here, they view you as their enemy, and you're supposed to be under their heel, their foot. And the moment you speak, you're wrong. So anything that happens in the world, the price of oil spikes, it's Tremaine's fault. They had a car that broke fingernail, it's Tremaine's fault. You know what I'm saying? Right. Fertilizer is 800% more expensive, so now farms can't grow. It's Tremaine's fault. It's always going to be your fault, brothers.
It's all be your fault, right?
It's always Tremaine's fault.
And you know that was weird about Vivica A. Fox, man. Saying what she said, man. That was extremely weird, man. I'm like, how can you, not Vivica A. Fox, but Tracy Ellen Ross blame black men for her messing up her good years and being a 304. That made no sense to me, man. They like accountability and self-reflection. That's why men are going to die alone, because they like self-awareness. And when you try to bring it to their attention, they can't hear what you're saying because they're deaf. They're deaf. They don't want to hear it. They don't want it. They won't hear it. And you got too many men that are sympathizers in their own pathologies. What do you guys say about that?
I mean, you got it. Good. You got it.
I was just gonna say I met her on the set of Girlfriends years ago, man. When my homeboy was on the episode, and yeah, she was kind of thirsty back then.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she was on you, boy. Yeah.
Oh, you mean Vivica A. Fox was?
No. Tracy Ellis Ross on Girlfriends on a TV show.
Oh wow, man, that is crazy.
Yeah.
That is crazy, man.
Yeah.
When you know, Brother Devin, when you look at a lot of these modern women now, and you see them getting older and they don't have husbands and men, what do you think about? I mean, what comes to mind? I mean, you know, the ones that try to holler at you, they holler monsters. What do you think about these holler monsters now, man? That, you know, like my man said back then, and they want me now that I'm hot, they're all on me. And you probably always was hot because you were, you know, light skin was in back in the day, man. You were like down. You were like Elder Barge, man.
Exactly. That's the DeBarge days, man. That was the DeBarge days. But, you know, honestly, man, I don't know, man. In my mind and in my heart, I still see myself in that age group, man. I mean, you know, I had a friend from high school invite me to a boat party, right? And you know, out here in LA, out here in the marina. And we went out. I didn't know any of the people. They were all her friends. You know, we hadn't really hung out since high school, but we're still friends. And we all got on the boat, you know, and I'm sipping. And then one of her girlfriends, you know, asked her, well, they in front of me, right? But she asked her, like, she said, can I play with him? I didn't even think she was talking about me, man. I almost spilled my drink. And I'm thinking to myself, nah, you're a little too old. And then my friend was like, well, she's 10 years younger than me. I'm like, so? I don't know, man. They're not even on my radar, man. I mean, you know, I'll have respectful conversation. I'll have respectful debate, especially about these things like we're talking about right now. But no, man, culturally, I'm so, like I said, from being a passport bro from the age of 18 and 19, you know, I'm so disconnected from that. It is really, really out of the question. I'm not even interested in sex, you know, unless it's like, what's Dame Dash's cousin, the kind of crazy one? Stacey Dash. Now, see, that's one that's kind of close to that generation that I might hit on a good day.
and you know, man, the crazy thing about it, man, as you get older, man, the sex don't matter as much. That's why women don't understand that box alone, even though it's part of a woman's essence, box alone is not enough. It ain't enough, man. You know, men are saying, I need more than box, boo, because yeah, go ahead.
It's still good. It's still good. It's just not kryptonite.
Right. Barrow and Brandon, I got you guys, man. Y'all are moderators. Y'all are some of my top moderators. So guys, y'all straight. I might even put James Turner as one too. But you know, it's good to be a man now, even though we're going through a lot of different things, man, and masculinity is under attack. It feels good for these men to come together, man. You know, me being a licensed therapist, I do these shows because art imitates life, but I want to see men empowered at the highest maximum, man. And it feels good, man. It feels real good to see that there are other men that think like you, because see, what happens a lot of time, guys, they will isolate you and you become isolated, so you think you're crazy. But what I'm understanding and learning is that most men by nature are traditional. What's your take on that, Brother Allen?
You're absolutely correct. Like, they will isolate you. One of the first things that women do when you get involved with, especially, is they try to move you closer to their family. closer to their support system. I had a homeboy of mine. He went from being in DC to Indian Trail, Florida. I'd never heard of it. He was down there for years, and he was just going through it. After he got out of that situation years later, and sadly to say, a deceased child later, he finally got away from her, and he started talking about what he experienced. And I'm like, well, bro, that's the same crap I've been going through down here. You went all the way to Indian Trail to go through hell. You could have stayed. You could have stayed in the city. All that.
Right.
So they all try to isolate. They all try to push you to a box. That way you have no communication. That way you can't have these kind of conversations because then it exposes them for who they are.
And what's becoming even more prevalent is that you can't shame them anymore. You can call them lame, small penis. It's funny to me. Once you get used to all the shaming language, it don't even phase you no more. Or you can't handle a strong woman. You're lame. You're weak. It doesn't matter anymore. Guys don't even care anymore. What's your guys' take on that?
You know, my favorite is that you gay, but all of their friends are gay.
Right.
Hey, is it a good thing or is it a bad thing? You know what I mean?
Well, you mentioned about most. Oh, go ahead.
I had my ex-wife back in like the early 2000s. We married with children. She called me lame for having a job working as an electrical apprentice, the same career that makes me money now, that made me 6 figures. I was lame for being an apprentice because I wasn't running around the streets peddling dope. Like, your perspective is twisted. It's weird. How do you explain it? If a man is on a career path but he's lame because he's not running the street, what? Like, you don't want nothing more than just a street dude? And for her, no, that's all she wanted. It's a street dude, flat out. She didn't want a man of substance.
And those are the 73% that end up financially dependent upon their woman.
Facts.
And you said that she tried to get you back, right?
Yeah. Never gonna happen. Ain't never gonna happen. Never ever.
So never gonna happen.
No, sir. It will never happen.
What do you say to the ones that are coming back in droves, man, trying to get with you and trying to be with you? Do you have that happening?
I got money and you can't have it.
I got money. I would say when I think most men are traditional out of necessity. If you're a man who doesn't have resources, you better be a good-looking man because you're not going to get any attention from anybody. But I think one of the things that's happened in just modern life is women have the choice. They can be modern, and you could be Tracy Ellis Ross, and you could date like a man and make money like a man, and then be 50, and then you want some elements of tradition, or you could be traditional younger and get married young and, do it the traditional route. But most men don't really have the choice. How exactly are you a modern man? Like you make money and I don't know, you have open marriage. I don't know what is modern man? What is that? But modern woman, traditional woman, there's a clear distinction. I don't think most men have that. You got to go bust her behind, get some money. Modern woman, traditional woman, they still want a guy that's got money. So I think men are just traditional because that's the only choice you got.
Yeah, we're right. I agree, but I was listening to something O'Shea was talking about, and he was talking about Ron Wills and the newer generation of men are not working anymore. They don't see the benefit. They're checking out. What's you guys' take on that?
Hey, the juice isn't worth the
I don't blame
squeeze. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I don't blame you. Like if this is all you get, if a run through by 22 is all you get,
That's
then
right.
what's the point of grinding for that? What's the point of putting in the effort to get that house with the picket fence and 2-car garage and your baby mama, the baby Benz, if she was the block whore? Like these younger men are much wiser than we were.
and she can take it away whenever she's not happy.
When she's not happy, right?
And she's likely
Right.
to. 78% of divorces are started initiated by women.
That's right. So I mean, young dudes just, I mean, either you're going to work hard and save it, or I guess you're going to try and do the Tate route where you just be a player for life, or just play video games.
Yeah. And see, I think we were the last generation that were serenading women. You know, the Gen X, that Gen X generation where, you know, we wrote women love letters. We took them out on dates. But these cats now, man, they're different, man. They're lazy. They've been effeminized. They're uninspired. They don't have no desire to fight through with anything. They quit. And I made my mind as a therapist, I'm not going to waste my energy on clients that are not serious about the process. If you ain't serious, you won't waste my time. I'm going to be with somebody that's going to take the process serious, and they don't mind putting in the work, man. And that's why I said, man, it's a good time, guys, to be men. I'm going to do a show tomorrow, guys, called Stella, She's Still Tricking, meaning she never stopped tricking. Yeah, Stella never stopped tricking, guys. Stella is still tricking. And if y'all don't believe me, Megan, the robot, said that she's tricking y'all.
Tricking y'all. They tricking y'all.
They tricking y'all because they tricking.
They tricking y'all.
They tricking y'all. Yeah, they tricking y'all because it's very dichotomous. Because they tricking y'all because they're trying to make y'all think that they're not tricking, but they're tricking. They're tricking. They're doing the same thing they're accusing y'all of doing. But they're the ones that are tricking, and y'all gonna see tomorrow. It's gonna be a good show. I'm gonna have a brother on, Brother Ingram. And y'all gonna see that the main ones accusing y'all of tricking, not only are they tricking y'all by making y'all think they're not tricking, but they're really being the tricks. And it's weird because black men don't attack black women for what they do. They've been tricking for years. And Stella never stopped tricking. But they're the main ones that accuse black men of sex tourism. But what these women, see, it's one thing you go to a country and women come up to you soliciting you. But these women are going to countries soliciting the neighbors. That's a succinct difference. You go to another person's country targeting young men and men of Jamaica for the sole purpose of sex. That's totally different than you going to a country and a woman come up to you and try to holler at you. What you guys take on that?
Yo, I mean, you know, they were the ones that really were into the sex tourism. I'm just keeping it real. And because they knew when they were going to Jamaica and all these other islands and places on these girl trips that they weren't going down there to bring a man back, and that the men down there weren't even trying to come back with them. We are actually trying to form functional families. Yeah, we're having fun in the meantime, but when we're talking about the qualities that we want in a woman, these are the qualities that we want for a wife. These are the women that we want. We're looking for somebody to wife up, and ain't nothing wrong about that. There's nothing immoral about that. There's nothing you can even judge about that.
I agree.
As a black man, when you travel, you may go to the spot that has extracurricular activities or whatever, but just because you're a black American male, what they consider to be a black American man, you ain't got to pay for nothing. They're going to come to you. They flock to you.
They flock to you. They run to you, right.
You are the man of their dreams. They don't realize outside of this country what this melanin and that passport really truly mean.
Right.
That's right.
That's power right there.
That's it. I'm telling you,
You ain't got to trick off on nothing. Now, black women, on the other hand, that's something totally different. They find out
right.
Well, you can't negotiate desire. If the desire is there, it's there. If it's not, it's not. You can purchase the act, but you can't purchase the desire.
Right.
And so even if people are traveling for that, for young women that are women that are doing that, more power to them. Hey, if they're doing it legally, fine, do your thing. But to what's the word you call it? Not gaslighting. You call it reflection. What do you call it when your inner property
projection?
Projection.
Yeah, projection. Right.
That's projection, right? Like I do it, so therefore all people do it. All people don't need to do it, or better yet, some people don't even want to do it.
Right. Well, you know, them Blue Book gentlemen be singing that song by Blue Magic. Blue Book gentlemen saying, "Let the slideshow begin" when they go overseas, man. Because it's so powerful, man. They ain't got to do nothing but just sit back in the cut, and they'll see a slideshow of women coming up to them, man, on the strip, man, because they're looking for those masculine American men. And that's why I never really understood it. But unless you see how wicked these women are, they're so full of hubris. They lack self-awareness. They have ego defense mechanisms. One is called reaction formation. A reaction formation might say, well, you're tricking, but what it really means is that they're tricking, or you're lame, but what they really mean is that they really want you. So sometimes some of these women are like the little boy that used to pull the girl's hair. He said, I don't really like you, but he really did like her. But they don't want you to know that they like you. So it's reaction formation. It's an ego defense mechanism. But they're so full of hubris and pride that they can't humble themselves and see the inherent value in a man. And you know what? The thing that bothers me, you got 30% of men that are virgins. So what are we going to do for the 33% that are virgins that don't have women or wives? Are they supposed to wait forever? Because a man that's a virgin, he can't do nothing with some of these speed monsters that had a lot of bodies. You know, these speed monsters got a lot of bodies, man. And so what can a virgin do with these speed monsters, man? You know, he'll be like the Lone Ranger on that woman humping and trying to get it in because he can't do nothing for her, man. What's your take on that, Brother Allen?
Send them overseas. Go. Listen, PSA, get your passport, get the hell out of here. Go where you're cherished, not just tolerated. Not saying that the women overseas are easy, but they're definitely easier to get along with.
Right.
They're understanding. And they ain't got 20 bodies at 20. They ain't got 300 bodies at 40. No. Why would you, after all the time of being a virgin, want to put your wood in that fluid ass pool? Like, come on, man.
Yeah, that's disgusting.
And you know, brother, you know, when you travel, this is the thing, right? I spent 4 years in Spain, and when I was there, I went to the University of Madrid in the evenings. I paid out of my pocket because Uncle Sam wasn't paying for it. And that experience alone, getting a university ID card as well as a military ID card, of course, to have access to the base, that really expanded my horizons beyond belief. And there's traveling and there's traveling. And, you know, there are levels of society everywhere you go. There are different classes, different social classes of people everywhere you go. And, you know, I appreciate Austin and I appreciate a lot of the other brothers. Shout out to one master teacher, very smart brother, and the Black Filipino as well. But, you know, don't just go to the club when you go. Go to church.
No.
Go to the museums. Go to the concerts. Go to the speakeasies. Go to the places where the intelligent women, the cultured women go. And meet women of every level of society, not just the women that are down to do something strange for a piece of change, but the women that are actually, you know, desired ladies, classy ladies in their society. You know, when they talk this crap about how women in foreign countries just want a green card, man, I was 20 minutes outside of Madrid, Spain. Madrid is like New York City. The women you meet in Madrid ain't even thinking about making it to the States. They ain't even thinking about going to the States. And do what? Do the same thing that they do in Madrid, go to work and go home, have a job and have a career, drive a car. These women are living. Madrid is a world capital. Okay. So you're not looking at dirty foot, as they call them, dirty foot women that are just trying to make it back to the States. No, I mean, these women have their own lives and their own culture, and they may be a little intrigued by the fact that you're an American, but you have to still be somebody in order to gain their attention. And I don't think it's fair for a lot of these sisters to underestimate women overseas like that and throwing them into that same trick bag. And I'm glad that these Filipino women and a lot of these women are starting to clap back. Dominicans and Brazilians and Filipinos, I'm glad they're starting to clap back. You know, we live in a global society now, thanks to the internet. And you know, these women are not deserving of those stereotypes, and they're not deserving to have their character undermined and attacked like that. You know, they're not trying to escape poverty, man. A lot of these women are simply traditional women because of the culture that they were raised in. They're not pretending.
Right.
It's unfortunate to paint women in a broad brush like that. We don't like prejudice. That's essentially prejudice.
Right. And that's really more projecting, because it's saying that if you were in the opposite, if you were in their shoes, that's how you would behave.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That you would gain love for someone.
Right. You know, Devin, when you look at a lot of young women your age now, are mostly happily married, or most are single, looking for good men?
I don't know, man. A lot of the sisters in the 50s aren't married. I would say the majority of them that I come across are not married, and they're not happy either.
Right. Right. They gave away the good years, man. They lost their first estate like the angels did, man. And now they're suffering the recompense of their era. I'm gonna ask you a question, Passport OG, real quick. In Japan, what do men need to know about finding traditional women in Japan, and how black men value in Japan?
Well, one of the superpowers that we have as human beings in general, and men in specific, is that we can adapt. So if you assimilate, just do some integration into the culture, you'll be surprised at the kind of people that you'll find. You'll be absolutely surprised. If you come here stomping around trying to speak English everywhere, there's like a very small group of people you can talk to. But I want to say this. TD Jakes had a sermon where he was talking about how not all women are wives. You can say the same on not all men are husbands, but there are some women who they don't have the DNA in them, the instruction in them to be a wife. And so you see this in certain cultures, like in this culture, where if a young lady chooses to be a lady of the evening, do that kind of work, she understands the chance of her becoming a wife goes almost to zero, and she accepts that as part of the deal. What we do in America is we say you could do that, but at the end, forget about my past, I'm a wife now. And there's something inside of men that we can't accept that. So when you go overseas, you'll meet young ladies who just aren't even out there like that, and they just want to be a wife for one guy. You meet that one person, you're off the market, she's off the market, you're done.
Right. And so it sounds like Go ahead.
If you integrate, you'll be surprised at the kind of people you can find here. You'll be absolutely amazed.
Right. So it sounds like the men they value being noteworthy women.
Oh yeah. If you're a productive guy, you go to work and you meet someone who doesn't want to be out here looking for a husband, and she vibes with you. I've seen guys go from single to married very, very quickly. Very quickly. Because they meet the right person and they fit like a lock and a key. So if you have the right mindset about you, I think that can happen pretty much anywhere.
Right.
You just have to meet a woman who wants to be a wife and not a woman who wants to get married.
Right. Good point. Go ahead.
No, Japan. If you are willing to get away from the bars and all that craziness, get outside of Tokyo a little bit and do some people stuff and get involved with some younger people, find a wife here easily.
Right. Fair enough.
That's good to hear. That's good to know.
You probably want to learn Japanese though. That's going to take some time.
You know, Alan and also Devin, you guys are from areas where they practice the dark arts. Black Ram did a show talking about blood magic. And when you think about women practicing blood magic and they're using it, what fears or concerns do you have for men that are single and they may not, even married men, and they may not be aware of the shenanigans that these women are doing?
Personally, brother, I got over 30 years of Ocha, man, so I ain't even scared about no dark arts. I'm protected above and below.
Okay, good. Have you guys begun to see women practice that more, Devin, in your opinion? Because it's happening.
Well, it is happening, man, and a lot of them. But see, the thing is, they don't really they don't interpret it properly. They try to put a feminist spin on it. You can't put a feminist spin on nothing African, brother. It ain't gonna work. It ain't gonna work. It's just like when Matt Walsh went to Africa when he made his movie "What Is a Woman."
Oh yeah, that's right.
And he was talking about trans and all the rest of that. It ain't gonna fly in Africa, man. We are real people, man. We are the original people on this planet Earth, man. That foolishness is not gonna, that contrived foolishness isn't gonna apply. And a lot of these women, they go into the, for example, the West African spirituality, trying to become babalawos. The babalawo means father of the secrets, the high priest. Can't be a babalawo. A woman can't be a babalawo. Period. And they try to twist it into some feminist version. Or I'm only gonna get with Oshun and Imanya. I'm only gonna deal with the female deities. And you're mixing things that really don't belong mixed together, and therefore whatever power you think you're extracting from it is null and void. That's the real.
Brother Allen, go ahead, man. And then we're gonna end this stream.
I really don't see it because I'm not on the market right now. When I was, I had a few experiences with a few different women that will remain nameless because I'm not going to get you shine. But long story short, I was dealing with one or two, and all of a sudden, I wasn't feeling so good. The other one was like, "Oh yeah, well I'll take care of you," and she took me back to health, and that told me right there, like, when we find out these, in my language, these hoes wear cahoots. They both know about each other.
Really?
Long story short.
Oh wow.
You know what? I'm done with this. I'm done with it. But yeah, it's definitely something that exists.
Right.
I would caution most men to at least try to be more aware of who you have around and who you keep around, and if they got a bunch of stones or little I can't think of the name for it.
You're talking about crystals. Crystals. I'm gonna show you something. A lot of them use they're into crystals. I'm gonna show you guys something. And you guys gonna see what I'm talking about. Hold tight. Let me show you guys something. Hold tight. I'm gonna show you guys something. And this heifer that was running her mouth about the passport bros. You guys can see what I'm talking about. Let me see if I can find the clip, and then I'm gonna end the stream in a minute. Hold tight. Let me play this. Hold tight.
I'll get a woman's take on all of this. Shamika, let's start with just a general question. Have you heard of the passport bros, and what do you think of them?
Yes, I have heard of them recently. And when I first saw it, I didn't think much about it, honestly, because I think that men have been doing this for years. If you ask me, black men are late to the party. When you look at white men who have been doing well in life, a lot of them have married foreign women. You can just look at Donald Trump himself. He had Ivanka and he had Melania, and I'm not sure about that one in the middle, but white men have been doing this for a long time. So I think black men are just now coming up on it. And it shows that there are a lot of people just plain sick of feminism, period, across the board. So I have no issue with black men deciding that they're sick and tired of being sick and tired, because what I think is that black women, they saw this happening, but they never thought it could happen to them.
Okay, so a comment on my video sent me down a rabbit hole I don't ever want to go down again. Passport bros are real. There's this group of like 7 black men on TikTok with like passports and saying they're going to other countries to find more submissive women. No.
All right, you see that? You see that stone on her finger, Alan?
Oh, that's the ring.
Right. They're into crystals, man.
All that stone head wrap. Yeah, whatever. Like, the reality of it is, there's a bunch of young men that's been put on game, and I didn't think I'd see it in my lifetime. I'm used to seeing it from my family because the majority was starved military, and every barbecue, birthday, whatever, it was like a UN conference because my cousins married out, and my aunts would talk trash shit about their nephews and their sons, but at the end of the day, these men were happy.
They were happy,
versus my uncle that married so-called black women, they were miserable.
Right.
They were miserable. The majority of them were miserable. I'm like, something ain't right. So I'm happy to see these young brothers at that age or at younger and younger ages getting their passports, getting the hell out of Dodge, and going somewhere where they can be appreciated and not tolerated. Like they're God, these women are terrible. Yeah. They will lie, they will cheat, they will steal, and if they can't have access to your resources, they will even kill. So,
right,
yeah, get away from it.
No, I agree. I agree. I'm real quick. I'm gonna end the stream. I want to ask you something. Passport OG. When did it finally sink in, man? When you realized it was time for you to move on, man?
Oh gosh, I could go back to my college days. I mean, my college days, I was trying to date around and like, you know, the one that showed me like true interest was a young Asian chick. And after that, I was like, well, what am I doing? Why am I haven't really had I had one interest, but outside of her, not really much interest until college. And I was thinking, why am I exclusively looking at this your only black women when I'm not getting any reciprocation, right? And then after that, it was just like, you know what? Let me just go somewhere else and see what it looks like. And 20 years later, here I am. So I mean, it sunk in for me pretty early. I would say in my early 20s.
Early 20s.
Yeah. Just if going to college and getting a good job and all that stuff is not going to pull heads or turn heads, then I got to look somewhere else. Right.
And like I said, man, it's powerful that men can finally say, I'm going to live my life on my own term, and I'm not going to allow women to stop me from living my life on my own term. It's my time. No longer will I be a slave, but either you're going to get in where you fit in, or you're going to be left behind. And that's powerful, man, for men. Because I've always told men they got more power than they realize. Once you realize that box alone is not enough, then you start demanding more. And what these women don't understand is this: box to a simp or a man that's not evolved, and a man that has a primitive mindset, then he's a slave to box because he has a primitive ego. But a man that has a very evolved ego, his super ego is intact, box alone ain't gonna keep that man. Because box will get you in the door, but it won't keep you in the relationship. And that's all these women have there that use box, that they've gave to multiple men for free. And, you know, they get mad when men say, you got to bring more to the table than box. Just like money alone money might can get you in a relationship, but if you're not a masculine man that know how to manage money and that money's not going to keep you in that relationship. Because you can have all the money you want, she'll use you until she get rid of you. Just like men will use women until they get rid of them. What's your take on that, Brother Allen? Then we're going to end the stream.
You're absolutely correct. Like, it's not boxes. That's the standard entry. Standard. It's not the most important thing in the world. And as you age, and once you hit 30, like me happened about around 35, and once my test level started coming down, I could think.
Right.
When I became a actualized man, then I realized that that box ain't hitting on that. I already had so much. But if that's what's on the table and the only thing on the table, that is not enough. It's never going to be enough. And as you age as a man, you start realizing what's important. You can hump and pump all day. If you can't feed yourself, you're going to be hungry. So that box, that ain't it. That's not what it is. They make it seem like it's the world, but nah, it's not.
And a player, man, a player chick, you know, he'll play and say, you know, whatever, he'll use up until he get rid of her, you know, because men don't care about no box as much as you get older. We realize that as you get closer to the grave, there are more important things in the world than some box. That she gave to Raekwon and Madman for free. As we begin to end, as we're about to end this stream, man, where do we go from here? Starting with Passport OG and then Mr. Allen. We're gonna end it after that.
Look, this is relationship as global capitalism. Stop feeling like you're beholden to a certain group of people. If we had a proper black community, then we would have people investing in young, you know, upwardly mobile men, and those men will be the guys that'll be picking the picks of the litter. but we don't have that. So if we're part of a broken community, you got to do what you got to do so that you can at least have a functional family. So where do we go from here? If you're a decent black woman, go out and find the best man you can find. If you're a decent black guy, go find the best woman that you can. And that's it. Our kids are going to be black. They're going to be black. So you have to marry someone of a certain persuasion, not in our community. We don't do it that way. So do what you got to do. Do what's best for you.
Brother Allen, closing comments, brother. Go ahead.
In the words of A Peaceful Life, relationship capitalism.
Relationship capitalism.
Relationship capitalism. Because it's over now. So get the best that you can, like Passport OG said. It doesn't matter the creed, the culture. Ultimately, what matters is your experience, how they treat you. Our genes are dominant, so it don't matter what we touch. It all becomes black at the end of the day. Dennis Sperling said it. I mean, everyone would prefer that you stay with somebody within the diaspora, but if they ain't acting right,
they gotta go.
Get rid of them and move.
Right, they gotta go, man. I totally agree.
The world is yours.
I totally agree, brother. I agree with you 1,000,000%. But listen, I'm gonna drop you down, man, by the end of the stream, man. Much love and blessing to you, brother Allen. We got a powerful show on tomorrow and Sunday, so you guys tune in. And brother Allen, if you want to be a moderator, let me know, man. I'll make you one. Just send me your information, and I'll make you a moderator. All right?
Yeah, I'll send it to you in the back chat.
All right, brother. Be good. All right, guys. It's about 46 minutes after the hour, 6 o'clock, guys. I had another great show as I dropped some fire for your mind.
Fire for your mind.
Jason Whitlock and why men are beginning to travel abroad for love and relationships. One of the things I want you guys to understand is this, that you have more power than you realize. You have more power than you realize. And when you realize how much power that you have, you will no longer allow men or women to sabotage you and to make you think that you deserve less. I want you guys to understand that there are 7 steps that a man must go through in order to become optimized. And understanding the power that you have and understanding how female psychology play a role on the function of a man is paramount as we move forward in this current world and also as we move forward in this current ecosystem. Brother Allen, I'm talking about your YouTube handle, not your email. Send me your YouTube handle, man. I'll make you a moderator, all right? Send me your YouTube. Anyway, we'll figure it out. Don't worry about it. We'll figure it out. But anyway, guys, we're about to sign off. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you guys need help with stress and issues, come see me at kosherclinician@gmail.com. Send me at kosherclinician@gmail.com. And guys, once again, we're about to sign off. Guys, get you some rest. Thank you for tuning in. Another great show. And hopefully, guys, at some point, I have Jason Whitlock on. I would love to have him on the show. He was on Angry Man earlier. Shout out to the Angry Man. Was looking at that stream a little bit. But this thing is going mainstream, man, and it's part of men demanding more and expecting more. So, guys, we're signing off. Be well.
It's not my fault. You've been lying, saying that I took away your peace. Drowning by yourself, now you wanna blame me. Like you have no options. I ain't take your options. Nah, I'm not the problem. Man, that's on you, yeah. You've been terrorizing me, yeah, I'm always wrong. I knew you lost your mind when you dropped that bomb. Girl, are you crazy? Yeah, you must be crazy. I've been thinking lately it's you. You stole your peace, put it on me, but baby, it's you. Lie like a ride, but take your stuff back, baby, it's you. And I would never hear. You've been flexing everywhere. Girl, look in the mirror. Man, you're so dirty. Yeah, you look so dirty. You were never worthy. Lately, it's you. You stole your peace, put it on me. But baby, it's you. Lie like a ride, but take your stuff back, baby, it's you. Baby, it's you. On your parade, shine, you can't change, yeah. If I was Father Time, then I would change the day. So I never saw your face. Hey, please, what do I have to do to make you? Baby, count me out. I'ma gon' count me in. Fill up my bank account. Now I got something to spend. They tried to count me out. I'ma gon' count me in. Fill up my bank account. Now I got something to spend. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I just pull it out and count for nothing when I'm feeling great. Give my baby little more just to spend it, and I'm always on go. I don't hesitate. Used to always know I make it, yeah. I'll be me until I'm in the grave, yeah. See my record, had to set it straight, yeah. I make the kid like 10, 10, 10, 10 times 10. I got wires coming in. Some in euros, some in sec, some in dollars, some in yen. I've been trying to keep my zen, keep my cool, keep my cool. Trying to keep the family fed, get my food, get my food. They tried to count me out, I'ma gon' count me in. Fill up my bank account, now I got something to spend. They tried to count me out, I'ma gon' count me in. Fill up my bank account, now I got something to spend. Did it, do it. I did it all, no gimmicks. I did it all, don't flip it. Now I got all these children, now I got all these clones. Now I got all you twinning, now I got all you thinking like all you thinking like all you winning. They tried to count me out, they tried to fill that doubt. They tried to ride my whip, they tried to knock me out. They tried to count my wins, they tried to show my L's. They tried to make me in, they tried, but where they now? Where they? Step in the spot and they stare at me. All of these battles will bear me. I swear that nothing compares to me. Feeling blessed, I won't stress. Beat the odds, you know the rest. They tried to count me out, I'ma gon' count me in. Fill up my bank account, now I got something to spend. They tried to count me out, I'ma gon' count me in. Fill up my bank account, now I got something to spend.
Before you, choose positive.
I'm tired of America, so I'm hitting Richie on the net. I got the tickets, that's a bet. We need to link, my brother. Set it up. Damn, I didn't had enough. Ooh, I won't lie. Can I get a little shake with them fries? My skin tone is matching your eyes. Black men, you know we like them thighs. And baby, she can do it all. Your land is my land. Cut through.